So this is the month of April's Mega Live for Mongolian Mindsets. We got some people today. I kind of fucked it up and forgot to post a link. God, fuck, we need to do that shit. But nonetheless, we are still here. We still have some familiar faces and some new faces. But first, we're going to talk about the thing between me and Jordan here. Jordan, it seems as though his NI vision is coming true with the banks. My recommendation for anybody, the best move on the board right now is to be able to buy precious metal. So if you can buy gold, if you can't buy gold, buy silver. That's probably the best move on the board right now, because the fact is you will always be able to get money, and the value of those metals will go up over time regardless. If you can't do that, then I would say please save all of your fucking money. Please save all of your fucking money. You look around, you notice that people are losing their jobs. The cost of things are going up. Things can only get worse. So what I would say is put yourself in the best position possible, which would be the metals. And if you can't do the metals, save your fucking money. Save your fucking money, save your fucking money, save your fucking money. And that will give you the ability to make choices or have freedom going into the future. Because like I said, there's going to be a lot of uncertainty going in the future when it comes to banks and whatnot. So plan ahead. This is definitely time to plan ahead. Do not be caught with your pants. Jordan, you want to talk about that? We're live.
Yeah, I can add to that. Yeah, I think the first thing I would say is, since you're recording, we're not financial advisors. We're just talking just how we're seeing things, just as a disclaimer. But essentially, Mercer is, I believe, correct on this. What we're seeing right now is a lot of these banks are in trouble because the system isn't operating the way they said it would. There are a lot of lies in the system. They printed a lot of money that didn't really exist. They created a bunch of investments that weren't really backed and were over leveraged. So what you're seeing right now is that essentially Judgment Day is here. And so a lot of these smaller banks are feeling the heat. And as I mentioned a few moments ago, a lot of these bigger banks will likely purchase parts of the smaller banks. But keep in mind, nearly a lot of these big banks are holding toxic assets. And that could be something like a mortgage-backed security that goes unpaid. That could be something like risky stock market investments, like risky companies, or even derivatives or shorts where those debts may be due. And so it is possible that much of the system does collapse at some point. Will have to be rebooted and replaced by a better system. And so I think the people we've talked to is just be prepared for that, have some cash on hand. As Mercer mentioned, having some precious metals is good for bartering. Especially, if system goes down, it might take a month or so or two to replace it. So having, some silver coins or even some pre-1964 I want to say, if you're not speaking, go ahead and go on mute just so we can limit some of the background noise, please. Thank you. Pre-1964 American coins are also 90% silver, and those are really good for bartering. So like old dimes and quarters. Have some extra food and water, and like some extra dry food. Because if the systems go down like that, be a delay there. So I would keep an eye on the stock market and on some of the cryptos. Having some cryptos can be good, but if you do crypto, make sure it's in a wallet, not like on one of the exchanges. So just to be clear, like it probably makes more sense to, like if you, I'm going to make up an example, but if you bought some Cardano or something on one of the exchanges like Kraken or Coinbase, it probably makes more sense to store that in your wallet, like a MetaMask wallet or one of the other wallets digitally. Or if you have a hard wallet, you can transfer it there as well. But I wouldn't keep it on the exchange because a lot of the crypto exchanges have already collapsed, and some are in the process of collapsing, most likely. But that's what I would say watch out for. and just understand, and it's something I was chatting with Mercer about, the stock market right now is pretty risky, and there are a bunch of cases going on right now regarding the stock market and manipulation. So just understand what you're getting into with that. You know, if the financial system starts to go down, even stocks you thought were safe, you know, your blue chips could still dip a good amount. So if that's income you're relying on, just keep that in mind. The other thing I'd also mention is there are a lot of very important cases going on right now, not just regarding stock market, but regarding legality of what many of these companies have been doing. And that includes just about all of the big blue chip ones. So if any of them were found guilty of some pretty serious criminal charges, understand with how Wall Street operates, it is very possible for them to lose 50% of their value in a day. So that's just my pre-warning. I think things will get better, but I think things have to shake first before things get better long term. And we're right now in the season of shaking.
Okay. So I'll just add to it, because Jordan does go on a progression there, and some people might get lost. But essentially what ended up happening is a lot of guys who run in the banks weren't projecting that the interest rates would go to the rate they were at now. And so what that did was that made them think that they could take on a lot more debt than they should have. And when you take on a lot of debt, thinking that interest rates will stay at that level or somewhere reasonably close, and it shoots up, a lot of people didn't project that. And when they didn't project that, now when those interest rates are 3, 4, 5 times higher than what they thought, now you run into a bit of trouble because of the way the market was. It promoted a lot of entrepreneurship. So that means going and betting on yourself, and that kind of environment is something that happens when you have low interest rates. But when the interest rates actually go up really high, banks get a lot more stingier, and pretty much the interest rates, well, basically what happens is you will see that people will not actually be like being entrepreneurs as much. And the people that are over leveraged will get killed for being over leveraged. So that's just to make what he said shorter. So I mean, there's always gonna be pigs to be slaughtered. But like I said earlier, the best move on the board, if you can, is buy precious metals. If you can't buy precious metals, save your fucking money, save your fucking money, save your fucking money. Because things are gonna get a lot worse. The cost of eggs and everything is going up. Everything's going up. Rents are going up. So if you're out here like spending money like you did a year ago or a year before that, you might run into a huge trouble going into the future. And what's our goal is to give you the best opportunity to be successful and have the best options available. So that was my little.
I can jump just one thing where so the other thing to keep in mind is a possible dollar collapse. So a lot of people don't necessarily know, but the dollar is used a lot for international transactions, and a bunch of nations have signed agreements to move away from the dollar. So that may cause them devaluing a dollar. So a lot of people, kind of Mercer mentioned, have shifted into silver and to gold in the meantime, so that if there is a change in currency or the dollar takes a big hit, your wealth is preserved. But just add a little bit of optimism. Right now, we're kind of in the shaking phase where everything is high. But if this current system collapses and is replaced quickly by a system where assets are backed and there's less leverage, you will actually see inflation concerns decrease over time. So the reversal is quite possible. It would just take some short-term pain and some will to execute it on a programmatic level. But it's not all doom and gloom. It's just keep in mind things might look worse before they get better, but long-term they can definitely get better if some solid decisions are made.
Okay, so let's get into this today, guys. That was just a little short rant before. Thank you guys for all showing up. We got some new faces here. So we did beat, I guess we did beat 12. So we're at 13. So I'm happy. I'm a happy guy. Today was going like shit, and it's going a lot better now.
You
Enjoy.
got daily 2 times in the chat right now.
Yeah, I actually did post a link yesterday. God damn. So I did. I actually did post a link yesterday. And I just seen it when I was scrolling down there. So I did post a link yesterday. I did. I don't know why I think I forgot, man. I don't fucking know, man. But yeah, let's get into it. My goals, I'll just go first. My goals every month is to read 2 or 3 books. I read 1 book this month. Okay. I recently started playing a lot of chess. Getting back into it, shaking off some of the rust that I had. I haven't played it before that for several years. So I've advanced to the round of legendary. I can't even remember, but it's the second one before the highest one on the like activity thing on chess. So goal is to get a lot better with chess, to study more the end game, mid game, to be able to produce better results on that. When it comes to typology, we've already hit the goal of releasing 150 videos. We're over that. Our goal was 300 members in the group. We're over that. I think we're at 308 or 309, not sure. I didn't even have a subscriber thought in my head, but we're at over 400 now on that. So things are going well. We're getting a lot of new faces. We're growing as a team, and I'm happy to see everybody. There's a lot more MBTI questions posted. And if I know your type, if someone asks a question about your type, you best believe I'm gonna tag your ass in the shit. Okay. So be ready and be warned. As in the fitness wise, I've still been doing 2 miles every time I go to the gym. That has become so easy now. Now that I started that and I stuck to it, it has gotten so easy. Do I feel better overall? Yes. I feel like I'm slowly losing weight overall. But it's a lot harder for me to kind of like see a huge difference in things unless I like ramp it up and go crazy. And I think the next month of June or July, I'm not gonna go out partying, and I'll really focus on weightlifting. So that'll be in the future. Got a lot of next month I'm going to be going more into Enneagram, so I'll be posting more of that in the group. And some of the work that I find interesting or enlightening for you guys. How to speed read. I thought that was a pretty interesting book as well. It's got some key things I might be posting in the group as well. I'm going to try to do an actual personality breakdown of each type. So what that's going to look like is I'm going to try to get for like the INTJ, I'm going to come up with PowerPoints, whatnot, and then I'm going to pull one of the INTJs on a video, and we're going to go over that together. Maybe 1 or 2, because I got a lot of INTJs in the group, so we can kind of go through and they can give their takes on the information and what they find to be true and what they find to be false. And we'll try to get different types of INTJs, because you can have some of the ones like Jordan who are very shadow focused, and it's very obvious to see. What shadow focus means is a very developed parent function. So that means he's going to be heavy on the TE and very little on the FI. So he'll look like most prototypical INTJs, but then you have some of the subconscious focus ones that are heavy into the FI and very low into the TE, and they present a little bit different. So, but that's me. That's the group. Cynthia's here. Cynthia, you want to go ahead and go give us your goals for last month? We know, god damn, I thought we were gonna lose Cynthia at one point here.
It was close. It was close. But well, I guess my goal last month was to just survive, so did that. Check that off the list. We were planning on moving to the new house. And then I had a 12-day stay in the hospital, so that got pushed back to June. So I've got until then basically to rest up and heal up, and then it's back on track. We got to go build the cabin and move to Maine and do all that stuff. Basically, my focus now is just to rest up as much as possible.
You do need you around here, so you do need to rest. Okay.
No,
Yeah.
thank you. You can say hi now.
Hi.
Yeah, okay.
Any new books you're gonna be writing or anything like that?
I'm not gonna have time. No.
No.
No, I'm gonna be pretty much focusing. We're building a homestead from scratch, so we have land.
Elena asked a question. Elena, you're free to unmute yourself and talk to Cynthia. This is not just a one-man show. You guys are free
I
to talk.
was saying that I'm from Maine.
Oh, hey, yeah. Yeah, we're moving to Aroostook.
Oh, cool. I'm from Central Maine, near Augusta. Mhm.
Yeah, where we're going, we're actually more north than most Canadians. It's pretty
Cool.
north. Yeah. No, beautiful state though. We bought 120 acres up there.
Fucking
We were able to spend a few days up there in the fall, but we're really looking forward to it. We're eager.
Awesome.
Well, it's totally awesome that you're alive, Cynthia. And
Thank you.
we missed you. I was like, "What the fuck is Cynthia?" Looking around, I'm like, "What the hell is Cynthia?"
No one's getting trolled. Something's wrong.
Yeah, I usually get trolled. There's a couple trolls I get hit with. It's either the INTPs, the ENTPs, or the NTJs. Yeah, I'm gonna get trolled by them. Definitely. But let's get into Amy. You ready? Get another NTJ on here. Can you give us your goal breakdowns for last month and following month and where you're going in the future?
Oh, the last month, my goal was just to get through some dental issues and not put on weight because I wasn't able to strength train or anything. And I'm getting back into the swing of that. I'm not eating all that well. I've kind of messed up on my intermittent fasting. I've been doing that for about a year, but I slacked off because getting nutrition was more important than, sticking to that. But I'm setting goals for over the next few months, and that's to get financial aid and go back to school. I'm going to become a psychotherapist. Basically, I want to be a trip sitter and I guess they call it a psychedelic therapist.
Mhm.
I just want to help people traverse through the hell that they might be in with that method. But that's kind of a long-term goal. Right now, I'm trying to been buying I sell fabrics, and I think textiles are not a bad investment as far as having something to barter. People are going to want to sew and repair things, and fabric's a good thing to have. I mean, it's not the best thing, and I got a little cryptocurrency, which I would like to increase that, but I do need to put it in MetaMask. I've kind of slacked on that. I'm not reached all the goals that I want to. I do have a book though that I'm gonna work on.
Mhm.
It's not showing up very well. It's called Autobiography of a Yogi, and it's a reprint of a book by
Excuse me.
Paramasa
Give me a second.
Yogananda.
Leon, speak up. If you have something to say, speak up.
Am I supposed to say something?
Yeah.
Oh, I just want to comment that I think it's so cool that you're pursuing therapy, because I'm a therapist. I have been interested in psychedelics too, as well. And also like the kind of like the spiritual experience that comes with psychedelics and being able to process it through therapy. I think that's a very interesting topic.
Yeah, it's what's helped me a lot through a lot of my I've done a lot of work using that method myself, and I had to do it by myself, but I know my way through the darkness, and I think I've helped a few other people using that method, and I'm pretty good at it. So that's what I'm going for. The world needs more of that. Anyway, that's pretty much what I got going on. I need to sit down and write down more goals, I guess. I'm just trying to get through each day and work a little bit more towards I'm sort of planner where I like to plan to a certain point, and when I get there, I know that I will be able to choose the right option. I just stay in a ready state, so when I see my goal, I can go after it without a lot of cumbersome.
That's exciting. Yeah. exciting. We're going to have more therapists out here. You know, the world needs more of them. And I think going into the future, there's going to be a huge need for more and more therapists because the thing about therapy is it's finally starting to cross the market where people are seeing it and they're accepting it. And celebrities are going out and then they're accepting it. And it makes it okay for regular people to say, okay, I need therapy as well. So I believe the market of therapy will go up a lot more. Christian, how you doing, man?
What's good, bro? How's it going?
Wow, man.
Yeah, I know, man.
Yeah.
How's everything? Chilling?
Pretty good, man. We got the month of April going here. We just had her talk about what her long-term future plan is. She's going into therapy and psychedelics. I'm a big fan. I'm a little scared of psychedelics. I hear stories about people losing their minds when they took drugs, and that just scares the shit out of me. Like,
Let me tell you, it can be for people that are rigid type of thinkers. I'd say like SJs might struggle with a little bit more. It can be pretty, it can break some people. If you're not resilient mentally and you don't have good mental fortitude, it can definitely take you down a path and you may not come back from it. It can cause psychosis in people that are susceptible. And I was in 2 years of a state like that. I was able to make it out, haven't been back, but yeah, some people don't make it out of there. But it can be worth the risk sometimes. You know, if you're like shooting up heroin every day and, you know, you're ODing every weekend, it's, you know, I take the risk. It's better than dying in an overdose.
yeah. Leon, you got any things you would inject there? Being a therapist?
Inject. Gonna promote drugs live online. Hey, everybody, do drugs.
Nah, there's a lot of people that are doing those little trips to South America.
Don't clip what I say and take it out of context.
Hey, there's a lot of people that are taking trips down to take Wazowski, or what is it called? Some with a W. Well, someone knows it in here.
Ayahuasca?
There we go.
Yeah, DMT.
Yeah, a lot of people going out of the country and taking that. I know a famous quarterback talked about it and how it changed his life. Aaron Rodgers, and he contributed to him winning his MVP. His trip to take ayahuasca. Whatever the hell that is. But, yeah.
I don't know. I would push back. Maybe I'm the old, I don't know, curmudgeon here, but I don't think the upside is particularly high, and I think the downside is nearly infinite when you're playing around with psychedelics. To be honest, I don't think we have enough long-term data
I
to
feel like
justify using it in most contexts, especially, man, I mean, especially when you already have a healthy mind. For those who have healthy minds already, the downside is nearly infinite, and the upside is pretty little.
Yeah, that's the same thing I thought about. Certain things like, what if my mind doesn't come back the way it is, or it comes back a little bit worse? Like, I'm not about that, you know. I take what I got today instead of something worse any day. But that's just me.
Right, and there's always a risk when you lose actual frontal control with any substance, you know, psychedelics or even alcohol, that you hurt yourself or others, and that's a decision you can't take back.
That's why it's important to have somebody that knows what they're doing to guide you through it, because there's it's almost like a hero's journey. You know, if you know the way and you know each milestone that you're going to go through the process, then and when you got somebody outside telling you what's going on, it's definitely a lot easier to go through that, because you know what to expect. You know that the fears are not, you know, it's not really demons that you're dealing with. It's actually you know, that helps a lot.
I think it helps.
Yeah, go to someone that you trust. Go to someone that you trust, and also that there's also groups that you could go to that are established. And the thing is, like things like alcohol and the hard drugs are like much more destructive on society in general. Like this stuff is generally relatively safe. Of course, it does, there are some risks involved, but I think the benefits could be very profound. Like even like if you go on one trip, you can have very significant insights. It could be like 10 years of therapy all in one's, like really deep insights that can really open up your mind
Yeah.
to a lot of things about yourself. So I think, the upsides are actually could be pretty high. It doesn't matter if it's good trip or a bad trip. There's no like really such thing as good or bad trip. They all inform you about yourself, provide you insight in some sort of way. Sometimes it helps you do all the hard work that you haven't been doing, instead of like going really deep into understanding things about yourself that you don't really want to understand, but it'll help you to unearth those things and really get at your demons.
Yeah, that was one of.
I mean, there's another rational explanation for that, and that you're shocking the mind with so much chemicals that it essentially gives someone a different experience out of whatever routine they're forced into. But that can be simulated with other experiences that aren't as risky. And I would just to play, I wouldn't say the devil's advocate, maybe the angel's advocate in this perspective. I mean, we still don't know everything of reality, and there is still an outsider's chance that some of these people who are very troubled are dealing with powers we don't understand, like something demonic or some sort of hallucinations in their mind. And so, I mean, without more information, playing around, for me, it's a no. Without more evidence, because we're playing around with things we don't fully understand, and there's real risk of causing real damage to the user. I mean, there are studies where I would push back on the bad trip analogy, because there are studies that some people do take these powerful drugs and they aren't the same afterwards. That they have what's it called? Schizophrenia.
PTSD?
I was gonna say schizophrenia that's induced by hallucinations or hallucinogenic drugs. I forget the exact term, but it is an observed reality that does happen for some people where they do take these hallucinogenic drugs, and it does manifest some form of psychosis or schizophrenia, which essentially could make the problem worse for that end user.
You're right. I know somebody that can't take psychedelics because they're already really high risk, and and it made it worse, and it didn't help them at all. That is definitely a risk, and it's so important to screen people. Yeah, it's somewhat of an uncharted territory, and I'm really hoping to find a good way to use it, because it has so much potential. It really does as a tool. Just got to be so careful how it's used. So that's a good point.
Mercer, didn't you say that? I don't know if someone put words in your mouth, but like you're willing to do the Neuralink thing.
Who said that shit?
No, maybe I misheard. It's like, wow, you're willing to do Neuralink, but not psychedelics. That's like, interesting risk assessment. But I guess you're not doing the Neuralink thing.
Listen to me. Do not be fooled. You better ask Christian. I don't play around with my health. Anything like I won't even get on a motorcycle. I don't even play that. Like, I like myself, who I am right now, and I would take that better than anything else. The potentiality of me losing that scares the shit out of me. So like the Neuralink.
You should do the Neuralink and psychedelics at the same time.
I gotta see some tests. I gotta see. You won't see me be the first person in line. Let's just say that. You won't see me being the first person in line. Christian, what do you think about psychedelics? Since we're on the topic of psychedelics.
I feel like maybe when I was younger, I would have explored that a little bit more. But as of now, I don't want anything messing with my mind state. I feel like it's almost an excuse to be introspective, but you don't really need it to be introspective. Like maybe somebody who's guarded about being introspective, that would force them to do it. So in that way, it's useful, but I don't think it's necessary, in my opinion.
It's pretty well said. I was gonna say it's a drug that helps people become abstract.
It's kind of similar to typology in a way, where it like forces people to kind of look inside themselves a little bit, but it's not really necessary to do it, but it helps, or it could help someone who doesn't know how to do it without that crutch, quote unquote,
Yeah, good point. Don't do it unless you feel called to do it.
Yeah, yeah. Cynthia, do you have anything to say about that? What's your take on that? I want to hear your take. You're a pretty smart person.
The only real thing I know about psychedelics is that scientists are thinking they may have been involved in our evolution early on. But that's a fringe theory.
Okay.
Hey, Cynthia, let me ask you a question.
Hey, so don't be initiating on here.
What do you think about AI? How is it gonna affect like media creation? How do you feel it's gonna affect like books and stuff like that, or even movies, media in general?
Yeah, I think it'll occupy the bulk in time. In time when it learns, it'll occupy the bulk of mass media. But I don't think it'll ever write the next, great American novel. But the bulk of it, 90% of the consumables, oh yeah. Oh yeah, it's a formula. It's the hero's journey is a formula. The virgin sacrifice is a formula. The everyday life is a formula. I write them. But no, it'll take over the bulk of the consumables, but I don't think it can be inspired.
Because I mean, the way I see it, right? There's so many stories that are kind of like the hero's journey, for example. That's a formula. So you could literally plug that, use AI, fill in the characters type of deal, form a story.
So my thinking is that it just decreases the requirement or certifications or knowledge that you need to know to be able to produce something. So you'll see a lot more people being able to reach into certain fields like media or movies or whatnot, because they won't have to do the hard work anymore. They'll have AI do a certain portion of it, and then they'll do the other portion. So I think it'll open up the actual movies and what you call it for everyone, because there's a lot of work. Like you may have the ideas for the movies, but then you don't want to do the backbreaking, high detail work about it. But you can release that on AI. You can use your ideas, that type of thing. So,
lower the threshold for entry.
Yeah.
I was thinking about animation because a lot of people are saying it's gonna put animators out of a job. I'm thinking it's probably gonna put creative work to a premium. So you're gonna have to pay more for creative work. And then it's probably gonna eliminate, for example, the people who animate in between frames. Like, if animation is like 1,000 frames, I could have a start point and an end point, and the in between could be animated by AI essentially. That's what I think is gonna go. So like a lot of people who do kind of like the quote unquote busy work in certain industries, you're gonna be in trouble essentially.
Yeah, I think that makes.
Your goal, bro.
I also.
Go, Jordan.
Go ahead. You're gonna say something?
Yeah, I'll jump in, I guess. So I think I mostly agree. It may help some skilled individuals who can learn it to use it as a tool for some things. But I actually think it is a risk to those on the lower 50% of the bell curve, because if they're not doing their job well or even effectively, then there are many businesses that are going to try to use it to supplement and just use that instead. I mean, the example that came to my head was like a repetitive sitcom. There's one I had in mind that's supposed to be a comedy that's not very funny, but I won't offend anyone because a lot of people like it. So, but you could easily just have some sort of AI script. But I will say there is some lack of transparency in how AI actually works. There's still some part of me that thinks some of these quote unquote AI projects is just a guy behind a screen pretending to be AI, because I've seen some of the answers. Right? So I don't think we're getting the full story, and I would want to know how it works before implementing it. I'm not planning on using it for the moment, unless I have to. But a lot of the stuff, I should be clear, that they say is AI is really just programmed algorithms to like find searches, and that may not necessarily be the AI as people are thinking of. But there are some potential practical uses. I think that the in between frames example is actually a really good one. But I think I think people who are exceptional and can market themselves well won't have to use it if they have a loyal audience. But for the cookie cutter stuff, those people are at risk. I mean, and companies are already doing that with like Mercer. You've probably seen this, but with like financial news, it's just like a basic printout. No one's writing it. Not that the writers in there are very good. They're just, most of them are paid shills, but like it's just computer generated at this point. You know, Microsoft is -1% or you know, whatever after earnings, and it just generates automatically and just shoots it out.
I mean, even our job, I was thinking like in the laboratory, there's a lot of stuff that we do that's kind of repetitive and is based on numbers. Like, for example, you know, if a certain value for a test is over a threshold, we have to call the nurse and tell her or whatever. All of that could be done through an algorithm because it's just numbers. So like essentially like that part of the job, we wouldn't have to do if AI could do it. And like, let's say that you could attach like a voice, you know, they could automate a call and it's like a robotic voice that tells you the value or whatever. So we don't have to do it. They could do it that way. You know, so I was kind of like thinking along our industry, the industry that we know, there's a lot of stuff that could be replaced by AI essentially in the future. Yeah.
I think a lot of people is going to be replaced with a lot. Me personally, I think you'd be a fool not to use it because if you study actual history, the people that use things first are the people that be able to take advantage of things the best, because everything's on a scale of how many hours you have used it. The more hours you've used it, the more creative and more ventures you'll be able to see and do. Those who are afraid will get left behind. I think, as you've seen, like Bill Gates was a smart guy, don't get me wrong, but he was able to have a competitive advantage against other kids. He was maybe one of 15 or 20 kids who were able to use a computer when nobody else was able to use a computer. Therefore, you're a lot ahead of everybody else. And then once you get into a business or whatnot, you can implement that things that you've learned that nobody else knows, okay? So I would champion everyone to see what they can use AI to help them with, because, you know, you're moving forward instead of moving back.
I would say like, I still have concerns about it. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. There's AI definitely being used for really good purposes, but it's a tech world. It's driven by a lot of hype, and just like what Jordan said, I think there's some people just behind. It's not all AI. The first time I used ChatGPT, it looked very impressive, but then the more I used it, and the more I looked at essays created by ChatGPT, it kind of feels like Wizard of Oz. There's like someone behind the smoke screen. It's like, and I do magic tricks, and I see the same kind of using of tricks. Like and the more you look at it, the less impressive it is, and definitely very far from making like an American novel. It's like the same silly tricks over and over again. And I think a lot of it's driven by hype. So be careful of the hype piece. When you invest in hype, you know, you're going to go down with the hype too. So I think there's areas where AI is going to do pretty well and going to serve society well, and it's good to invest in that. But a lot of it's hype and kind of like hocus pocus and seeming impressive. But and most people, they don't know how to read good writing. So they're going to be impressed by things that look like, that have flowery kind of writing that the ChatGPT does. But like, if you look further, it's like, it appears very much like hocus pocus, very much like what Jordan's talking about. Like there's someone kind of like pulling the strings behind it, and a lot less impressive than it is. And the other thing I'm concerned about is just like what Jordan said about risk to the lower 50%. In order to get really good, you have to be crappy at first. So when you work on things like you work on writing, for example, you have to do your crappy work. And a lot of people who are beginning writers, especially if they're very young, they're not going to write as well as ChatGPT. So my concern is that they're not going to put in the work or develop their skills, writing or in any other skills. And we're going to have like a dumb society basically as a result. So like, you just have to do your crappy things first. You have to do things that are worse than what the AI does before you do things that are better. So that's my other concern about it.
Actually, a good point, Liam.
I mean, my argument against that is, I mean, probably 20, 30 years ago, people were better at doing math manually before we had calculators or whatever, or even at our job, like we have our equations already installed in our program. They automatically calculate our values for us. Back in the day, we had to do it manually, you know. So technically,
Yes, but
My opinion is that that's drudge work, though, for the most part. And my parents would argue because they've done the calculus in their head, their brains are actually sharper because they've
that's what I'm
they
saying.
have to
Like
do it by hand.
that's just
But
a
that's still
symptom of
drug. That's still
yeah,
but creative work is different, I think.
yeah,
than
but
that.
that's what I'm saying is, you know, so that's a symptom of progress. It always happens every generation. There's a new technology that makes us quote unquote stupider, but that just leaves us to do more creative work as opposed to, you know, let's plug some numbers into an equation, do it manually and get the value. Is that quote unquote being smarter? Maybe, but it's also less efficient.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think there's going to be certain areas where AI is going to do really well and really help us. There's others where it's going to be super hyped up, and be careful of that. So
I mean, I live in Miami. There's like Cuban dudes that are like 60. They remember all the roads and they know every single nook and cranny in Miami, but I don't because I got a GPS. You know, like I learned how to use
yeah, I
GPS.
agree with you. And the thing
So
is,
I don't
like,
know the road numbers, you know,
I don't
whereas
have a sense of direction, so I benefit a lot by it. So that's like a good example of that. That's a good example of AI. Like I think, but like just observing it, there's going to be a hype and there's risk. There's a lot of people who are being concerned. So it's not like other technologies. It's a very powerful weapon, but you know, I imagine some companies, when they hype it up too much, you're going to kind of crash and burn. And so that's danger. But just like what they're doing, like I guess if the foundation's like really good and they're not like hyping up too much, then I think that, you know, it could be a good investment.
I think
you know what it kind of reminds me of? It reminds me of 3D printing in a way. It's almost like, you know, you plug in a picture of what you want and makes it for you. Yes, but it's gonna have some mistakes, you know, unless it like you still have to kind of look after it, type of thing, to make sure it's high quality. It's kind of like the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, it's part of life now. So, like I said earlier, you know, those who take advantage will prosper. So, you know, learn from it, move on, move forward. But realize that it is here and it will only get better. That's just how it is. Back to what Christian was saying, yeah. If you go and look at like those people like Thomas Jefferson and whatnot, they need like 15, 16 different languages. How many people know that many like languages nowadays? You know, how many people can really articulate themselves like Benjamin Franklin? Man? So, yeah, I do believe that people are a lot smarter back in the day. But hey, we got technology. That's it. But Christian, give us your goals and for last month and the goals for this month.
My goals, I mean, I've been like super heavy into the gym lately. I would say like 2 months ago, I weighed like 190 pounds. I dropped to 175. I'm trying to get to 170. I'm just trying to get like lean. So that's going pretty well. I'm going to Europe in a month, or like a month and a couple weeks. So I'm going to Europe for the first time ever. And I just started a new job. So hopefully I could be with them at least 9 months, because I just renewed my lease here. And that's pretty much it. Just trying to save money, trying to get investing started up again, even though like I haven't been able to lately, but you know, I'm working on it. And that's pretty much it.
Okay, dope, man. Leon, you ready? Give us your goals, man. We're ready for this.
Yeah, I'm ready. So good thing is I've been writing regularly, and I'm pretty happy about that. And the other thing is that I'm working on a project with ENFJ. We're gonna use our house and turn into a democracy learning lab. We're gonna have people come over, discuss like kind of like how to do democracy, basically, and we're gonna live by our own principles too. So basically, because I'm a psychotherapist, I'm interested in how people communicate with one another. Like, how do they get along? What kind of things you do in order to kind of bridge the gap between people and get them to understand each other? we're interested in inviting people who are across the political spectrum. They could be liberal or conservative, so long as they're like interested in democracy, right? Because we think that people can have different understandings of it, and they're all coming from a good place, right? So yeah, we're just working on that project together. I'm also working on creating a support group for artists who are concerned about AI. So I've talked with different artists, like some are pro AI, some are like concerned about AI, but this is a support group. So there's people who are like, they could be anxious or whatever, just providing emotional support as a psychotherapist. So I do have like some concerns, like, I'm not against AI being used in art in itself, but like the idea that it could just like say that you spend all your life kind of creating a new style of art, and then the AI program can just quickly absorb it. I think that's unethical, because what happens is that you're going to get rid of people who are innovative in creating new styles, and then the AI is just going to regurgitate old styles over and over again. And people who are creating new styles, their work just gets easily absorbed, so they can't create a living. And we're not going to get any new novel work from that. So that's my concern about that. But like, if someone's like, I think Adobe is starting up a program where they're basing their AI on their own images. They're not just like sourcing it from anybody. So I think, that could be okay. If there's an opt-in process for artists to have their work included, that's okay. So, yeah, what else? I think, let's see what else I'm working on here. I'm going to play music in the city. I'm going to my parents are going to get me an electric guitar for my birthday. So that's really nice. And I'm going to play it outside, go to the parks in the city. I used to bring my, acoustic or steel string guitar, but I think, people are just like impressed by loud sounds anyway. I remember I have a friend who he went out to like busking in the city is a very interesting thing, because it doesn't necessarily matter how talented you are, right? Talent could be very helpful, but like you have to just catch people's attention. So he's a really great guitar player, and he played out in a subway where he wasn't making a lot of money, but then he decided to do it like he just started to just dance around and do it in a very passionate manner.
Hey,
Yes.
Have you seen,
Yes.
you know about Guitarro 5000?
Was it?
Guitarro 5000?
No.
Okay, so he's a YouTuber. He's in the group, and he does what you're talking about. Where he goes up to random people and have them sing with him.
Right.
Yeah. He almost has 1 million subscribers, so maybe pick his brain, man. He's in the group.
Okay.
He was supposed to be on today, but he's actually doing some videos today.
What's his name?
Guitarro 5000.
Guitarro? Okay.
We typed in, he's ESFP.
Okay.
Love the group. He has almost 1 million subscribers on YouTube.
Right.
Yeah, that's very cool. Leon, so I'm a guitar player, so I'm a little bit guitar nerd. Do you know what type of electric guitar you're gonna get?
I don't know. I'm still looking.
Okay. Well,
I'm more familiar with like acoustic work.
Okay. All right. Well, if you have questions about recommendations for electric guitars, I know a guy, and it happens to be me. So feel free to reach out.
I know a guy. It's me.
If I fucking child.
What else? Yeah, I need help. Like, I'm still trying to create my book. I have the writing available. So just remind me of the name of that person who's written a book.
Cynthia.
Cynthia. Full name? Is there like a
Cynthia Payne.
Cynthia Payne, Payne.
Okay, great. And I have to like I think I'm doing a lot of things, so like trying to like make videos regularly, so it has been difficult, but like I want to do that. So, but I'll figure that out.
I mean, you're free to ask her, man. She's right here.
Oh, she's here?
Yeah, she's
That's her. How do you not know who Cynthia is?
Cynthia, are you here?
I'm here. I'm the one with the squeaky voice. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I want to create a book, like an ebook, but I guess I would kind of like to talk to someone about like what's the next steps.
Okay. Have you written it yet?
Yeah, I basically written, it's like a bunch of articles I've created on mental health.
Okay, all right. Well, that's the best first step right there. But yeah, you can message me afterwards. But I've self-published 4 books, all of which have an ebook component and a physical component.
Yeah.
It's not difficult, but there are a lot of steps. And
Right.
there is open source programming where you can format it yourself. You gotta learn how to use it, but it's not that hard. It's it's a process, but it's like anything. It's just doing it. That's what it is.
Advice, do it.
It's not difficult to do. It's a big pain in the butt to do it.
I see. Yeah.
But yeah, send me a message and I'd be happy to talk about it. It's very boring.
Well,
Okay.
anything else, Leon?
Hmm?
Is there anything else?
Anything else? No, that's I mean, like I work as a psychotherapist, but I'm reopening the coaching end of what I do too. So, and that's fine. I've done that before. I was wondering, if there's like a good program, like if you want to get paid regularly, like something that could take in someone's credit card and then kind of like there's an auto pay to it.
So there's a few programs out there you could look into. Are you thinking something simple like almost like a PayPal or a subscription service? I mean,
yeah, I use PayPal already, so I get like my system is that they pay for 8 sessions beforehand, right? So,
okay.
but I was thinking of something more continuous.
Okay, so I mean, there's a few things you could do. So you run your own business essentially, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you could look into some different options, I mean, there's parallel economy. You could see, I mean, if you really need to, you could set up a Patreon. If someone needed to subscribe for a set amount of weeks or months, that might be simple. People can use PayPal or other means there. I mean, I don't know if they're the best company in the world, but it's an option for a small business. What's the one that? Yeah, so PayPal owns Venmo. So maybe Subscribestar. So look into Parallel Economy, Subscribestar, and Patreon. You should find at least one that can probably work between all of those. And if worse came to worse, I guess you could just tell them to sign up for your YouTube channel, I guess. Right? Just at a high subscription or something. I don't know. Might have. Anyway, that's probably enough to get you started to look into things.
Great. Thank you so much.
That's what we're here for, Leon. That's what we're here for, man. So who's next? Jordan, go ahead and give us your rundown.
Sure. Okay. So, goals. So I was originally committed to doing 100 crunches a day, and I got up to about 100 crunches a day for about a week, and then I got super busy with the lawsuit, which is a bummer because I was feeling pretty good too. So I need to get back on that at some point. I'm involved in a lawsuit now to recover some financial investment power for myself and some others. So somewhat surprised. I've been a lot busier than I thought on that, but we are actually making headway. So and things are going better than expected at this moment. So that is my hope. We'll be able to fix this investment/company so things can be better again for people. And then I can hope to get back to doing 100, or I shouldn't say 200, but let's just say 100, 120 crunches a day and get back to lifting again. So that's my progress on my goals. So health petered off, but the finance stuff is starting to pick up.
Anything for the future?
That's a good question. I thought about maybe taking a position at a company nearby, and we're in talks with them that may or may not be a fit. The thing is, for lack of a better word, my investments pay off, then I might run my own company. like a small business type situation. If they don't, then I'm probably gonna have to go work for someone else. I'd rather work for myself at this moment in time, because
If you're INTJ, you always want to work for yourself.
yeah, and you know what? Listen, to be honest, I've worked for other people for 10 years. I've only met like 1 or 2 people that are close to as driven and as smart as me and honest in my area. I haven't worked for, so who knows? Maybe Mercer would be a great boss, but like, so it's just like one of those things where I'd rather just work for myself.
Yeah. You know, you guys want to take on all the hard work and do all the hard work and do it all yourself, just like Shelly's doing. I want to make fun of her fucking doing home plumbing and all that other shit. I'm like, girl, pay somebody. Like,
Well, hold up. I actually did learn that lesson. I have people in mind who I might want to hire.
mhm.
I've already thought that ahead. So there are some things I want to delegate. So Mercer, I hope to learn from that example. I won't be remodeling my entire house and making a whole business all by myself.
You're fucking crazy. Okay, who we have? Thank you, Jordan. You know, we love you, man. We're trying to stress Jordan out. That is the goal every month, is to get enough people in here to stress Jordan out. Because Jordan likes to make sure that things are structured here for us so that everybody can have a voice here. Let's get into the next one. Tommy, you ready?
Yeah. It's a been kind of a weird month. I've been trading as said try.
Can I ask you one question real quick? What are your thoughts as an INTP on AI?
It will. The major thing is it will make more expertise. The people that it will take away people that work today, but the one that will keep on working with the art and such need to be more expertise instead.
Tommy, we can't hear you.
Not at all.
Now we can hear you. What did you say?
Okay. As I said, the expertise on the artists and such needs to be much higher than the normal today, but there will be less that do that kind of work.
Okay. All right, so what are your goals, man?
Yeah, it's it was more exercise, and I've done that. Also, I need to focus a bit more on my diet, I could say. I kind of dumped a couple of times. I have diabetes, and it's been really low a couple of times. So I need to check that a lot better. Yeah.
We'll check on those goals next month, man. We're excited for you.
Yeah, it's not good when you're looking like a ghost, kind of.
Hey, I mean, just remember, you're starting somewhere. You can always, finish another place.
Yeah.
Because every time I think about things like that, when it comes to like where I'm starting at, I think about there's always people that have more problems that actually get it done, so I can do it too. So,
yeah.
So who is next? James, let's get you and your wife.
Hey guys. Hey Mercer, you can count us as 2.
Oh,
so
shit, I do. So that's 4, 8, 12, 13, 14 people. Let me go ahead and re-put my numbers up. So that's 14.
That's right. Achieving.
Numbers are important to TE.
Fucking good.
Nice. Listening to you guys talk about AI and in the markets and investing into gold, in my mind, I'm just wondering how that's going to play out with the gold thing. It's like if everybody in here just started like actually physically running around with gold in their pockets or trying to barter with gold, I don't know that there's enough expertise like in the layman to know if they're actually getting real gold from somebody, you know?
Yeah. No,
Team
that's
And be like,
critic, right on.
you like scratch
Yeah,
and
so
sniff
that's
this
why-
stuff?
Yeah, so James, so that's why gold is for storing, silver would be for bartering. So like a really simple, so like if I had a pre-1964 quarter, maybe in a barter situation, maybe that goes up to like $5 or $10. And we could see that it's got the date on it. And so I could say, you know, if you're the grocer, I say, here's $10, I need a steak, right? So here's the dime. Gold, if it's at $2,000, I can't give you $2,000 unless I'm trying to buy a year's, like 2 years worth of steaks, right? So I think there would definitely be some growing pains, but they'd have to use silver for bartering.
You know what I was just thinking about, man? You definitely a fucking ENTP. Figure out how to fucking scam people out. ENTPs always know how to scam the system. It's like their brain just goes straight to fucking scamming the system. I swear to God, it's like, well, people aren't gonna be able to tell what's fake gold or real gold. So you what?
Yeah, well, you know, I want to protect myself from taking the fake gold too. And on the AI thing, you know, I'm part of a panel right now. There's nothing but a circle of PhDs that we're all looking into different areas of how to model like human interactions to build swarms. Because everybody wants in the military right now, they want to be able to use drones and swarms to do operations, you know, to augment huge platoons of people. It's like, well, shit, what if we can just get a swarm to go out and take care of a mission? And so when we look at swarms, we're trying to figure out what that really means. I think right now, everybody just thinks that swarms are a pile of drones coming over a hill. You know, if you see a lot of things together, they're calling it a swarm, whereas it might be a fleet of drones. Because the true swarm it's decentralized. So if you got a bunch of drones flying over a hill, they've got their own programming and they can think on their own. They already have a mission. So there's no man behind the curtain or woman, you know, telling them what to do. They've just got this pre-programmed mission and they've got all these sensors to understand if they're, you know, within a meter of each other. If they start getting spread out, they'll pull back together like an accordion. If one gets taken out, then another one will move in to fill that void. So a true swarm with AI can think on its own. And the bottom line to this is that we are so far away from achieving that, that I don't think it's going to be a reality for probably a decade or even more. And, you know, I'm working with a lot of the top scientists and they're like, yeah, Hollywood does a great job scaring the shit out of people. And the news is doing the same thing. But in reality, you know, we don't even know who was piloting those 2 drones that supposedly trying to take out the Kremlin. You know, we're just too far off right now to really worry about it. It's like Leon said, don't believe the hype. This is my message there.
Thank you for giving us the truth there, man. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. So I got some goals. I'll try to get through them real quick. So we're moving back to the States, like some of you guys probably heard. We're in Germany right now. I have to sell 2 cars before we do that, and it's kind of stressing me out because I need the cars right up until we leave. Logistics are a pain in the ass when you're moving across the planet. And then when we finally get there, I'm gonna have to buy a couple of cars, and hopefully I can like buy them right away. Yeah, logistics sucks. ENTP don't like logistics. Let's see. I've got a band over here. We've been together for like 12 years, and I'm trying to wrap up our final album. We recorded this thing years ago, and I'm just trying to finish the damn thing.
Just trying to chill the fuck out of it.
What's that?
Somebody said that. I didn't say that.
Oh, I didn't hear it.
I didn't hear it either. Whoa,
All
dude.
right.
Was it me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm muting my.
All right.
What instrument do you play, James?
Oh man, I play them all. You know.
ENTP, I play them all.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I plug in the gap, you know. If I'm by myself at a campfire, it's easy to carry an acoustic guitar. If I got a band in a big stage, man, I love musical chairs, just jumping on everything. Drums are the funnest, you know, especially if you got a big sound system. And we've got a huge studio right here in this town that we lease, and you know, there's 6 of us, and we just got a ton of equipment in there. That's another thing we need to clean out before I leave. Yeah, music's a ton of fun. There is that. Let's see what else. My family, my mom, my sister, and one of my sons decided they want to come out for a last minute trip right in the middle of our moving. So we are preparing for that. We got to have beds. So I had to like move all of our moving dates back a couple of weeks so that we'll get our stuff a lot later in America to accommodate for the family. Thank you, family. Let's see, still got to finish 2 bathrooms in this house. One thing I need to figure out here is, what am I going to do with this house? I either got to sell it or rent it out. So right now I'm doing the research and trying to figure out what I'm going to get into, because we've lived in this house. And for all of you that have invested into homes, when you go to sell a home in America, if you're single, you can make like $250,000 in profit and not have to pay capital gains tax. If you're married, you can make $500,000 and not have to pay capital gains tax, as long as you're selling your primary residence that you've lived in for 2 out of the last 5 years. And there's some exceptions to that. So I've got this house in Germany. They've got similar rules. So if I start to rent this thing out, I might be making some tactical money. But if that flags me as a business, and then when I turn around and sell it a couple years from now, I might get hit really hard with capital gains. So trying to figure that out.
How's the market in Germany?
I think just globally right now, it seems like everybody's preparing for a housing market crash, talking about the recession. It's the same thing out here, but year over year, everything's still going up.
I sold my house in 3 days.
Wow.
Cool. Where are you?
South Carolina.
Nice.
Yeah, 3 days, and it was under contract, 15K over asking. We had a bidding war.
Holy cow. Congrats.
3 days. 3 days. I was telling my husband, I was like, now's the time to sell, and it was.
Oh, was that like a intuitive feeling you had?
I don't know. It was in September. So it was, I mean, it was kind of at the peak of the housing boom. So
Very good job.
now we're hanging out, and we'll be moving to our new homestead in Maine. So it's 1,500 miles away. It's not quite an ocean away, but I feel you on the logistics. We got a whole homestead with livestock we're moving. So I feel you on logistics.
Yeah, definitely.
James, oh yeah, James, I was going to say, so I'm curious, how would renting a house in a foreign country work? Are you going to have to get like a property manager? Because like, what would happen if they have like repairs or something?
Yeah, definitely. You get a property manager, and that'd be the same if you were in a different state from a home. You get a property manager. They charge like 10% of the rent, and you know, you do up a contract. If there's a repair that is like typically $100 or less, they'll go ahead and do it without bothering the owner. But if it's above that, then they would send out an email, and then you can tailor it. Yeah, I've had good experiences with property managers taking care of the places. It's not a big deal. But then you can get bad renters, you know. My advice, because I've been buying houses and building them and selling them for like 25 years. And my advice to people that want to get into doing that is buy the smaller houses to do that. Like, you should attract the dinks, dual income, no kids. They're a lot better renters than, if you go buy a big house, you get a good deal on it. And then you turn around and rent it to a large family that's got no control over the kids and the dogs and all that kind of stuff. They'll destroy the place. That, and there's more showers, so every shower goes through a hot water heater. And so it's more wear and tear on the hot water heater. So if you got, dual income, no kids, that's really the best situation for renters.
Man, George, I mean, not George, James, man, you're a wealth of knowledge, man.
I've been around a little bit, man.
You've been hiding out on this, man. Fucking ENTPs, man. It's that verbal agility, huh? That you guys have.
I think it's I think we like to answer questions rather than throw them out there. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I just think
people get me going. I'll be going. I'll be talking.
Like my fucking brother, man. My mom used to put him on a talking ban. Like, my mom used to ban him from talking. Like, he could not talk. It was that bad. Like, he got fed from talking. So his name is James too, which is weird. My older brother's name.
Oh, hell yeah.
But
cool.
Get your wife on here. Get her, tell her goals and what she's looking for.
Yeah, all right. Is that what?
Hi. My goals is the same like what I told you last time, and when James was talking, he used we, so this means our goals both. So what he told you is our goals together.
Yeah.
I don't have a new goal.
No. So,
yeah, shopping is always my goal.
She found a new friend and they've been gone like every day this week shopping. So she's got like tactical goals.
Yeah, my goal is spend more of his money, so he feel like he have a responsibility.
Oh.
Well, nothing wrong with that. He's got an INTJ for him. Yeah. James, what's yours?
You good? All right, I think
we're over here worried about the banks. We should worry about her with our money, man. Save the gold, save everything.
Exactly.
What he said?
Yep. What is it like? When I look at my money, I look at both what's coming in and what's going out. And so, yeah, I've definitely been kind of worried.
That's definitely a word. Yeah. All right. So we got James on here. So who's next? Bailey? You there? Bailey Hines.
What's up?
Yo, you what was your goals last month? What's your goals this month?
Of course, to keep working out, going to the gym, trying to get up my maxes a few pounds or so.
Mm-hmm.
It's been pretty chill here lately. Been hanging out with some friends and stuff, having fun. It's kind of funny because I've just been sitting here listening to all these abstract and systematic people in this group, and I'm just like, oh, okay,
So, oh, okay. So anything that you're working on for the future, or anything that
I wouldn't say I'm working on particular anything for the future. I'm trying to think about it, I'm trying to put it into consideration. It's not the easiest for me though, of course, considering that I am I'm an NI inferior type, so it's not the easiest for me to do that. But I try.
Okay. So what we got? That's our job as a group, to help everybody, get better. We got George on camera. Jordan's working on his SE and Fury getting on camera.
Uh-huh.
So what do you think is in the realm of yes, Bailey is an ESTP. You are free to talk, Amy. You guys are free to fucking talk. This is not a one-man show here. I didn't say this like 10 times. You guys are free to talk to each other. Like, yes, Bailey is an ESTP. Bailey, you got anything like you really want in the future? Anything you know?
I don't. At the moment, I can't really point my fingers to anything specific. No.
And since we've been talking, what's your thoughts on AI?
Oh yeah. Well, I'm optimistic, but also pessimistic towards it. On one hand, it is very cool that we're developing technology that is more efficient and is helping humanity out, helping us to get things done more efficiently, effectively. But then again, at the same time, I do think it's scary because there is definitely a risk involved in that. Like it taking over humanity and causing humanity to be a lot less self-reliant, because human beings used to be extremely self-reliant for most of our history, throughout thousands of years of human history. And now we're heading in a more reliant direction, and that could potentially very much backfire.
That's pretty well said, man. Yeah, that was pretty damn well said there.
Yeah. You ever seen you seen that new movie Megan Trap, man? You seen that?
No, I don't really watch movies that much. I'm not a movie kind of the movie.
Well, it's about this killer robot. She's supposed to be a toy who understands people and connects with people and everything, and extremely smart AI robot. And so what ends up happening is she ends up becoming corrupted and ends up killing people. So it's a pretty good movie in my opinion. I would recommend watching it. Not everybody likes it though.
What is it again? Let me write it down.
MEGAN. So
okay. Definitely look at that. So, thankful to have you on here, man.
Oh yeah, you're very much welcome.
Hey, Amir, are you ready?
I saw the trailer for that, and I thought that's probably going to happen one day. We're going to have AI robot babysitters that go haywire.
You know what's gonna happen?
What?
Dudes are gonna start having AI girlfriends. That's what's gonna happen.
They already have that.
Get it, Leon.
They already have that already. And the thing is, I think they got in trouble for it. And so the at least like one company or so, they had to pull it away. And all the people who had AI girlfriends, they're like so like upset because they lost their AI girlfriend.
Yeah, they're heartbroken, man.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel for them, you know. I feel for them. So
Yeah.
it's hard to lose your girl like that, you know. Algorithm took it away.
Yeah. You all seen that movie Her? It's like a really good movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's where I got the idea from. It's not really an original idea, but I saw that movie.
Yeah. So my concern, like that's the thing. So like in the movie Her, the AI girlfriend's basically programmed to meet the needs of the guy, right? To have the personality that's perfect for him.
Yep.
So my thing about it is that, you know, we as human beings, we learn.
No, Mercer, it's not 1980s movie.
It's relatively recent.
No, it's not.
It's relatively recent, but like in the movie,
there's a movie that was like 1980s and 1990s where they made the perfect girlfriend, and it was two guys. I forget what it's called.
Well, it's not a new concept, but
that
the one
movie,
Weird Science.
The one he's talking about came out in 2013.
Okay.
I'm gonna first make a feeling argument, and then I'll make a thinking argument just to be balanced. So I'm gonna first do my FI thing, right? So I'm concerned about the AI girlfriend stuff very ethically. Like, I think it's not a good idea to give somebody who's always going to be very people pleasing, right? People are not going to develop that way. We develop through having human conflict, right? So here's my thinking argument is that if you invest in such companies, for example, they're going to get into ethical trouble. And when they do, they're going to, you're going to lose money, basically. It's going to have a bad effect on society, and people are going to see it, and then they're going to that company is going
You
to
know
have a bad.
what? You know what? It's inevitable. It's gonna happen. Like there's no
I
stop.
don't think so. I think like technology could grow while there could be regulations placed upon it. For example, just industrial revolution, which is absolutely, there's a lot of positive things about it. So AI is like another revolution, but from the industrial revolution, we still have like later on we developed child labor laws that are still in place today. So you have to think about that. So things that exploit and also like if we look at scientific experiments, we have the technology to do any sort of experiments on humans, but we don't because there are rules against that, right? So after World War II, we see that, human dignity is very important. And so we limit how we do human experiments. The technology is still good.
Chris, let him finish.
I just want to interject once.
Yes.
Shut the fuck up.
If what you're saying is true, then they would have regulated the porn industry a long time ago. If ethics was over money, then the porn industry.
No, ethics is important because like if you have science without the ethics, then we'll have human experiments that that hurt humans a lot. And then the thing is, I think science actually becomes better when we have a certain amount of regulation, because then people trust, like they're willing to be part of an experiment, right? We have like some level of trust with the system.
So what makes it unethical that it's an AI and not a human? Because the porn industry is basically doing the same thing with real humans. Because
I don't know this industry. What industry?
The porn industry does what you're talking about with real humans. It's better to exploit a robot than a woman, don't you think?
No. Well, that's a question, like whether porn is ethical or not. That's actually a big question in itself. Like to what degree and how it's done, right? So
Okay.
Right. But
okay. But my thing is, if the porn industry is allowed, why wouldn't an AI replacement be allowed?
It depends on how it's done, because like there's AI that's done for good and there's the AI that's not done for good, right? So I think like it's important to have certain regulations when it's not, like if it's not going to help with sustaining human prosperity, like in a healthy way, like that promotes, that cares about us in an ethical way. I think that matters.
No, you think capitalism cares about promoting health?
Checks all the blocks of
relationships between humans. They really don't. They just care about the profits. We live in a capitalistic society. Like I'm telling you, it's going that way. There's no stopping it. I'm telling you.
But the thing is that AI is going to be available to everybody. It's going to affect the children. It's going to affect adults. Unlike porn, which is somewhat limited. I mean, yeah, kids get a hold of it, but I think there's a lot more motivation to regulate AI. Maybe.
So do you think
from an evolutionary standpoint, sorry, Melissa chiming in here, I'm the one that swore accidentally, but from an evolutionary standpoint, yeah, you can talk about AI and AI replacing any sort of like human relationship, but it's survival of the fittest and you have to reproduce. So if you're resistant to reproducing with the opposite sex, then your genes are going to die out. So it doesn't matter if you have that replace that, you can't keep living on biologically speaking.
Well, what you're missing is the people who are going to
What am I missing?
What you're missing is that the people who are going to have these AI girlfriends are the ones who can't get women in the first place. So their genes were going to die out regardless. So it really don't matter. Like the people who could get real girlfriends we're going to get real girlfriends regardless.
I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's a little more complex. I actually agree with Leon in theory. It brings up some ethical questions. But Leon, I think the problem is in the U.S. at this very moment, the laws are not enforced uniformly. The regulations are only for people who are not on the inside. So we might not do some of these high-level experiments on humans, but many of the alphabet agencies are in fact doing many of those high-risk illegal experiments on humans, just not necessarily in our purview. The ethical issue is going to come into fact is when one of these AI relationship droids or whatever essentially pushes some young person to end their life. And that's probably going to be a big moment where people are going to have to decide what to do, because whoever is programming these AIs or whatever they're hooked up to essentially is going to inform whether or not they help the end user or not. And I think that's going to be the danger, is at some point, if the person programming the AI as an agenda consistent with the World Economic Forum to depopulate, at some point that droid's going to push that person to do something harmful to themselves. And that's where the questions of ethics come in. And then on Christian's point, he's right, the prophets push it, but we don't live in a capitalistic society. We live in a form of cronyism, a cronyistic socialism. I mean, the taxes are nearly at 40% across the board. I mean, it's not a free market, it is a rigged market. So things would have to change for us to actually get to capitalism, in which case the user would have to vote with their dollars whether or not they want that product to exist. But right now, the government is funding those types of programs.
My thing is, these ethical questions have already been debated and answered through the porn industry, essentially. I'm sure there's men that's killed themselves over cam girls. I'm sure there's men who've committed like violent acts against themselves or others because of the porn industry. I'm sure. And it hasn't been outlawed. So why would it be different when it's an AI doing the, you know, the profiteering versus, you know,
I mean, there's laws against child labor, for example. So there's things that have been passed that we've learned to collectively value as a society. For example, also labor laws as well. So
I think you're overestimating society and their ethics.
yeah, I mean,
I actually think you guys are missing the biggest money-making possibility of AI girlfriends.
All right, go ahead.
What is that?
All right, it's different than porn because you are establishing an emotional connection with this AI person. All right. And what do? You want to make that person happy. You always do. I mean, that's the thing. That's what a relationship is. You kind of want the best for them. You want to make what's happen. So, you know, you're talking with your AI girlfriend. You know, honey, it'd be nice if we could get Disney Plus. Then we could cuddle up on the couch and watch more movies together. This is built-in advertising.
Cynthia's a genius. We need to call Meta right now.
We need to redecorate in here. You know, you really should go keto. You know, there's this box meal program.
I think it all depends.
Of an girlfriend.
Well, I think it all depends on the desire for social or even the development of social intelligence, because yes, someone could just want the idea like an AI girlfriend, but someone who is really developed socially, who wants someone, you know, who can intellectually not only just be a sexual being, but also like somebody who is an equal partner who can actually push them and help them grow. You're going to have a whole field of people that aren't going to be incredibly dissatisfied with the AI world. Granted, if you don't feel a lot of social confidence or even care that much about social intelligence, then obviously you're not going to venture out and desire to have a real substantial, challenging emotional relationship. And I guess it just depends on the emotional development of the individual.
Verbal agility. Here we go.
Now, what percentage of men in total do you think fit that description? The ones that, you know, are not able to get the social interaction, or maybe they don't have access to the real relationship. What percentage of men do you think that is?
I cannot give you an estimate of something I have not quantified at all.
Cynthia, what percentage do you think that is?
When they're young, 100%. And that's when they get their first girlfriend.
Okay, so when they're young, 100%. I mean, I don't think it's 100%, but
when they're young, we're all awkward, we're all terrible. And they practice dating and then they get hooked.
Yeah, but
that's why Coca-Cola aims for kids.
Some people are naturals, they get girlfriends early or whatever, or maybe they're attractive enough or whatever. My point is, even if it's at worst or at best, however, you know, your perspective is 20%, that's still a large demographic you can exploit money from, you know. And
well, how do we know that that's the actual percentage is what I'm wanting to know.
My point is, we don't have to be exact. It could be 10%. Even 10% of the whole male population.
In order to understand and say things accurately, you have to have a real quantification about
my point is, any percentage of the whole male population is going to be a large amount of people that you can exploit money from. And to the level where Cynthia's talking about, where you can get money from advertisers and even incentivize them to buy stuff. that's going to be a huge industry. And just that is going to allow it to flourish or survive, even if it's fringe, that.
Oh, well, yeah, that's true. I mean, you can see it indicated in how successful the porn industry is.
Exactly. That's exactly
Right. Right.
So we already have a parallel to what that industry is going to look like with the porn industry. So in my opinion, it's inevitable. Basically, is all I'm saying.
Well,
Yeah.
the thing is more recreational. But you look at cars, for example, like cars used to be not very safe, but everyone needs to use them. It's essential stuff, right? But then they ended up being regulated because of the risk that they could cause. So now cars are super safe. And now AI is entering in territory that's beyond entertainment. It's about making things that are essential for society. So if it's not safe, then that's going to be an issue. And the things that are not safe are going to, I don't think those are going to live or survive.
I think that there's going to be a push and pull from every aspect because if nothing's all or nothing. So, people are going to seek real relationships, but in the same vein, they're also sometimes going to seek artificial pleasure. Like that's just, and so sometimes there are too many moving factors in order to really make a predictable assumption of what's actually going to happen. I mean, you can guess and you can theorize, and the odds of there being some success in that realm are pretty high. But whether it's a dominant percentage of the population, it's probably unlikely. And whether that is going to be the complete reality of the entire percent of the population all the time is also very unlikely. Yeah.
Well,
Most
another question we could ask is, are these artificial relationships going to bleed culturally into the real relationships? And again, we can parallel it with the porn industry, because as the porn industry became so accessible through the internet, we see that these young kids are behaving differently than, let's say, our parents would in relationships. It's totally different. Even like the conversation about sex and how sex should be performed, or the tolerance level of, how risque you want to be with the sex has changed over generations. And the porn industry was a huge factor with that. So, it's going to change the game eventually, culturally. Even if it's only fringe, it'll bleed into other aspects of our culture.
Yeah, you know what? AI girlfriend.
What do you think about that? I want to know what Cynthia has to say.
About what? I'm sorry. About bleeding in culturally.
About the bleeding effect that it's going to have on our culture, essentially, even if it's
absolutely. Oh, absolutely. No, I agree with you, Christian. It's inevitable. It is coming, and it's going to have widespread consequences, just like the porn industry has. I mean, like you said, relationships have changed. The dating game has changed, and there's a lot more confusion around what consent is because of the porn industry. It's causing a lot of problems, and it's going to do the same thing. And I think the main thing it's going to do is kill social skills even more. Because, like others have said, you're not dealing with conflict. An AI girlfriend isn't going to give you a whole lot of conflict.
You're not dealing with illness either. Your AI girlfriend's not going to get sick when you get sick.
She's not going to hold her hand.
Exactly. You just unplug her, So it's a complete responding thing, like Melissa said. It's just a pleasure tool kind of thing, and then put it away. But with all these young men, if they're all sexually motivated, and they're getting that taken care of, then they're not going to be tied to that actual woman that kind of probably needs them to procreate.
Yeah.
And so it'll just
And
kind of
name
screw
a
everything
13-year-old boy who wouldn't experiment with that.
Yeah.
Name one.
I am just a bit confused because what I know or what I read about it was a girl that was creating one of the websites for an AI girlfriend or boyfriend from the beginning because she was so lonely. So I'm not even sure it's going to be a more male thing even.
You're saying.
Oh, it'll be for women too. It's just women are socialized to We're
Yeah,
allowed to have more of an extended social network. We have more support. We tend to have closer friendships, or not closer friendships, but more of them, a greater support group.
We've been cultured to be more naturally social and to more
Yeah.
into more socially. And I
yeah,
think
but you also desire more of the social part.
Well, so what more?
Yeah, you also desire a more social game in reality from a relationship.
Right.
I would say.
Yeah, women tend to prioritize the social aspect a lot more than men do. Men tend to function more of the functional. Not that they, I mean, especially in a long term, they value things like social and friendly, but it's not as high, and they don't need as much of it. I think that's kind of what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
Well, guys, that was a very interesting talk there. Let's move on. Amir, are you ready? Probably asleep.
Can you hear me properly?
Huh?
Can you hear me properly?
Yeah.
What's up, people?
Amir, are you there? You there?
Can you hear me?
Say something?
1 sec. 1 second.
I can't. We hear you. We hear you.
he says 1 sec.
Yeah, we can hear you, Amir. It's just you and Mercer kept talking over each other.
Yeah, we kept like every time. 2 ENTJs. Wow, this AI thing is very interesting, huh? I'm gonna do some AI research and bust some ass next month.
You know, it seems like at work, all the INTP guys are playing with AI girlfriends. Just that's my.
Hey, you leave my INTP friends alone.
Like an advanced INTP.
Huh? You leave my INTP friends alone.
Wasn't that the character from her? She's kind of like an INTP in a way.
They're all geniuses. Geniuses deserve to make whatever they want.
I mean, I think also there's a lot of social strife in relationships statistically. So if you fix those structural issues, you'll have less of that issue of people having issues with AI people. But I mean, if you look at the stats of how long relationships last, I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, think about how much poison is in our food that's disrupting testosterone levels as well. I mean, that's something that's not talked about enough in terms of development in young men either.
All right, moderator Jordan, keep us on task. It's Amir's turn. Amir, you ready?
Yeah, I think I'm ready now.
You eating, man?
I'm having some serious technical problems, but yeah. What's up, people? I think it's my first time. Yeah.
What's your goals for last month, and what's your goals for the next month? You accomplish them. We're all talking about AI here, so what's your thoughts on AI as well?
I'll get to my goals first. Yeah. So over in April, I achieved 5 things. So saved up 15% of my income. I read 2 books. I lost 4 pounds. I achieved a B+ average in my study. And I kept up with my daily trackers for a whole month. Yeah. These are the 5 main things. And then the things I want to do is I'm gonna keep that pace going for the next month, but I want to add another pound in there for my weight loss. So I want to make it 5 next month. And I'm gonna try to get achieving an A- in my studies as well for next month as well. Because I have so for this year I want to read at least 18 books. I'm already at 5, and I want to lose. This is gonna sound outrageous, but I want to lose 50 pounds, and I'm already at 11. So
50.
Yeah. And the thing is, I'm not talking about 50 in general. I'm talking about 50 of fat, because I was extremely overweight. So I'm already there. Like I'm already achieving it at a steady pace. So yeah.
Yeah, man, that's pretty shit. Books, I think I'm at, my goal was to read 40 books. I think it was 40, and I'm at about like, let me see, one month I did 3, the other ones would be 2. We're like April now, so it's probably around like 9 or 10 so far this year. At a point, I swear to God, though, when you're reading books, it's almost like everything sounds the same. Like you can almost predict what they're gonna be saying. And the worst thing about books is like if you go to the best author, everybody else sounds stupid when you listen to this or listen to something similar to the same book.
That,
Yeah.
that, that,
Isn't that such a like a TE hero thing to do? Is just to look at the best reviews and then you get the best books, and then after that it all goes downhill.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna ask like 50 people on the reviews of this book, and then it's gonna give me 4.7 on Amazon UK or Amazon US, and I'm gonna buy it. Obviously, it's gonna go downhill from there.
And then you start like, bro, man, these authors are fucking shit. Like someone recommended David Goggins books to me, and I had already listened to like Robert Greene, Ryan Holiday, Malcolm Gladwell. So when they gave me that, I was like, this shit is ass. Everybody else is sitting around like, this is the greatest book ever. I'm just like, yo, it's terrible.
Yeah. The thing is as well is that it depends what you want to achieve out of the reading. Like for example, when I read a book, I don't just read a book for the fun of it. To be honest, I know some people love that. I like to read a book and then gain things from it and then achieve something with it. So if I'm gonna read a book about, I don't know, like for example, one of the ones I read is actually this one, the one by Dario Nardi, what's it called, the 8 Keys to Self-Leadership. So I read that in 2 days, and that book is basically really, like, I found it helpful because it can help you get it from the abstract to concrete action of how you can improve. And that's why I want to read as well. Like if I read a book, I actually summarize it as well. I try to summarize the chapters, the pages. I don't just like skim, That's the kind of thing I like to do.
So when I read, I like to try to use stuff. Like if I'm gonna read something, I'm gonna use it. Like you can bet your ass.
Exactly.
I'm gonna be like playing with it or implementing it in some type of way. I'm gonna see if it works. That's why, like, it don't matter if it's the 48 laws of power. I implement all of them. Just build depending on the situation. You got to understand, because when Robert Greene wrote that book, it's kind of like he wrote it from a perspective that these don't always work. It depends on the situation. So he wrote it from an interest perspective and not a systematic point of view. So you got to kind of know exactly when to use the laws and when not to. But like no matter what book it is, I will implement whatever I read. It's gonna happen. Like I'm gonna tell somebody. I don't know. I think
you reminded me of because I wanted to start like a book, like a group for reading books with my friends, right? And then I started it, and we were like, oh, because I knew their capabilities. They never read for their life, okay? And I was like, okay, let's start at just 1 or 2 pages a week, right? Just 2, right? Doesn't take anything. Just And then the thing is, and then it came after a week. No, it came after 2 weeks, and they said, "Listen, man, you're on your own. You can't do this." And they just dipped. So I was like, "Yeah, okay. I'm not gonna involve anyone who's half-assing it from now on."
You can't. You really can't, man. I swear. Like, you want to help people, but then the bad thing about it, and the thing that's the worst with our personality type, is that when we try to help you and you fail us, we get this feeling in our stomach where we don't want to deal with you anymore on that type of like I'm done with like I'll just say I'm done with humans on that. Like I'm done, but then you gotta like somehow not be that person, because in the long run it kind of jades you as an ENTJ.
You know, one thing I realized as well, maybe other people can give an input, maybe they can disagree with me, right? But one of the things I found is that people tend to do 2 things, right? Especially when they're learning about personality type or understanding themselves. The first thing is they tend to think they're much more well-rounded than they actually are. The second thing is they tend to overestimate their own goals. So when I am looking at people, I'm going to be honest, right? If I'm looking at people with me in a group, I'm gonna set goals based on how much I think they can achieve. So if I say you're gonna do 2 pages a week, it's because I know you won't get past 2 pages a week. I know that for a fact. Okay. So the thing is, they either take that as an insult to just dip, or the very, very few, they continue to prove me wrong, which is better, you know. And I find with personality that, for example, you tell a person like, oh, it looks like you use a lot of more TE than FI, right? Like in your case, for example. It's like, no, but it depends on the situation. It's 50-50 for me, you know. I can do this here, I can do this here, you know. I got this perfect balance. And I'm like, no, you don't. That's why I don't have any friends, for example. That's why you don't, you know, you can't manage anything emotionally. It's like you're not as well rounded as you think you are. I'm sorry, you know, sorry to break the news, but you're not, you know. And these kind of arguments when happen to people is very difficult, you know, and especially when you're trying to help them set goals. It's like, no, but I can lose weight if I put my head to it. It's like, yeah, but you don't have a head to use, man. You don't have a head to use. Like, shut up.
You sound like me. You sound like me. I just started losing it with people. And it kind of jades me and makes me not want to work with people in general. Because it's like they want something. Like, I don't have a problem with somebody wanting something, but when you're not going to do what's necessary to get what you want, but you want to fucking just talk about what you want, I got a problem with you. I got a problem with
you. Dude, you know what's gonna happen? We're gonna make our own focus groups for self-development. It's all gonna be AIs. It's like screw people, man.
It's like, I got a problem. A friend of mine to be like, I want to lose weight. All right. And then you see him 6 months from now, he's like, man, I'm still trying to lose weight. It's like, yo, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck?
Yo, but Jerry lost weight though.
Huh?
Jerry lost weight.
Oh, don't you get me started on Jerry. You know I'm gonna have a fucking aneurysm in here.
I saw his Instagram post. He lost weight.
He lost weight.
Yeah.
He lost weight.
But the thing is, right? The thing is, there's a difference between someone who's struggling with their goals, right? And then there's a difference between someone who's justifying their failure. There's a big difference in that. So if someone in the group doesn't like achieve their goals, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, we had a slip up. Happens to everyone, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you have someone who's like, okay, you didn't achieve your goal. Do you think you know why? It's like, yeah, it's just tough. I'm like, okay. It's like, how can you achieve it? It's like, man, I don't know what to do. It is who I am, you know. They attach any sort of weakness to who they think they are at their core. And that's when I know you need some help beyond my reach. And maybe reach out for other professionals. But I'm not going to do that for you. I'm sorry. You know, I am not responsible for anyone's emotions. Let's just say that.
I noticed that people they will hijack my willpower and use it, right? So like Jerry, like let's say for instance, he's one of my buddies, he works out with me, right?
Right.
If we take Mercer out of the equation, he won't go to the gym at all. He needs me to go to the gym. He needs somebody like me to call him, cuss him out. Like, where the fuck are you at? Why you being a fucking lazy piece of shit? Like, bro, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, you know, like I just get burned up because it's just like, yo. And then you hit me with a fucking excuse. And I'm like, motherfucker, I've been up 12, 13, 14 hours. I'm still at this fucking gym. And then once I leave here, I got other shit to fucking do. And then I go to sleep at 1 o'clock and I fucking do it again. Don't give me a fucking excuse.
Well,
that's not great. That's not great. I will say, I agree with Amir Mercer on this, but I think we can see the difference between effort and failure and someone who doesn't try at all. You know, because at least someone who's trying, you may see some indication of progress. But I agree with Amir is right. When they give up and just say it's part of who they am, that's a dangerous road to walk, for sure.
Yeah, it's not just that, you know. It's like sometimes when I sit down with people, right, and I'm like, okay, let's try to like, help you out with whatever it is you need. I don't force them to have goals like me, you know. So I'm like, okay, let's sit down privately. Let's set some goals for you, right? And I'm like, oh, and they're like, okay, let's be realistic now, right? And I have to say, NFPs are the worst people at knowing what is realistic for themselves, especially when it comes to goal setting. Like, okay, let's.
You notice my camera went back on again. NFP.
Realistic is relative, though.
I'm not pointing at any NFP in this chat, you know. But like,
Yeah,
no,
hey,
but like,
what's up?
I think
like you tell,
realism is relative. Like, for example,
yeah, you see
Mercer,
that's a you statement. Realism is realism, dude. Just get over it.
it ain't, because
No,
for example, for me to lose 10 pounds, like let's say I was like 190, I want to lose 10 pounds, I could do it like very easily, whereas somebody else maybe not as easy, you know. So it just depends what
yeah,
realism is.
no, but the
Like,
thing is,
Mercer and I dropped like
when
10 pounds in a week one time to go to a party.
no,
And
but the
like
thing is,
all we
I
did was
don't.
eat tuna. Like, people ain't willing to do that shit. Like,
Yeah.
people ain't willing to go that far, but we did. You get what I'm saying? So like,
No, but I don't measure people's realism based on what I experienced though. Like, for
I'm just
example,
saying,
if
like, I'm just saying losing 10 pounds just eating tuna was realistic to us because we're crazy enough to do it. But like,
yeah, but you're basing on
for
what you
the
did.
average person, that's not realistic. They're not willing to do it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah, but yeah, you're right in that context. But what I'm saying is that
You
when
ever
I sit
get
down with them,
frustrated?
I don't.
Sorry, I didn't
What?
mean to interrupt your thought. I'll say it in a second when you're done.
go
No,
ahead.
I'm saying like when I sit down with them, I don't say, okay, you need to do it this way because it worked for me. I don't do that. So what I'm saying is like, okay, let's find a way that works for you. I let them do the goal setting itself. I don't actually tell them do 1, 2, 3. I don't even set the baseline. But the thing is, when I tell them be realistic, they're like, yeah, I know I never read, so I'm gonna try read 5 books this month. And I'm like, no, that makes no sense. Okay, you're not gonna do it. All right, how can you go from nothing to 5 a month and then you think that's attainable every month? That makes no sense. Okay,
That's like
I'm sorry,
crash
it doesn't
diet.
make.
The same as a crash diet.
Yeah, no, it's
Do this.
like I don't like listen, like Mercer, for example, you lift a lot of weights, okay, in your videos.
Sure.
I can see it, right? I can't lift an eighth of what you lift, all right? So if I come in and I say, you know what, in the next month I'm gonna do what Mercer does, right? I'm gonna be in hospital.
Yeah. But then again, there is someone, a freak of nature, who in a month could get to where Mercer's at. There's high schoolers that bench what Mercer benches.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
what I'm saying.
you
Where
turn it slow down,
realism is different depending on what person it is. That's what I'm saying.
So if I tell you to set your realism and you fail it, then were you realistic?
I'm sorry, you say what?
If I tell you to set your own realism and then you fail to recognize your own realism, so are you realistic?
I'm just saying it's dangerous to set it for them because they might exceed what you thought was realistic. They might.
That's a good thing, though. That's a good thing, because if somebody does excel at what they do, I think you should set the bar as bare minimum as you can, because if they actually blow past the bar, then you can adjust it accordingly to it. But if you set it fucking too high, and they don't even get nowhere close, then they're gonna stop. Okay, so setting the bar very, very low would probably be the best method there.
And don't get me started on this argument. And don't get me started on this argument where some people are like, oh yeah, I'm gonna set my goals like I wanna, achieve my grades. If I aim for 100, I'll get 80. It's like, no, it's not the same thing. Shut up, okay? You don't understand anything about systems. You don't understand anything about that stuff. Come on, get a life.
What I notice is an awful lot of energy is spent in being frustrated with people, and I wonder how efficient that is for you guys to spend so much time being so frustrated about how frustrating people are. I like it. Just an observation. How much energy is spent being pissed off and
try to help
people not achieving their goals.
Like, we actively try to help people because we want the best for them, but they just don't have the ability to go and get it. They don't have to go. They don't have the ability to fucking just, like, dude, if I have to run my head through a fucking wall for some shit and I deem that shit necessary, I will fucking do it. Other people will not fucking do it. Okay, and then they wonder why you are at a position in your life and they're not, and they're sitting around with the thumbs up the fucking butt, saying, you
What
got
if they got low testosterone
no,
though?
You're just not willing to do the work. You're just not willing to do the work. You're not willing to put yourself out there. You're not willing to take losses. You're not willing to just lose. You just want to fucking microwave easy.
Look, there's
Yeah.
there's
What do
a
you say?
reason that Dario Nardi said there's subtypes of all the different types is based on the neurotransmitters. Not everybody's going to be like you, Mercer. You're obviously you have a high testosterone. Your TE is just like, 100%. Not everybody's got that. They just can't. They don't have that motivation. They got to find it, serotonin, oxytocin, whatever it is that makes us run, and the goals are going to be a little bit different. And some people don't read books. Okay.
Yeah,
Podcasts.
it's different. I understand your point, but the thing is, right, it's different from Mercer in my case. Like, for example, Mercer goes out of his way to lead, right? The thing is, I don't really want to lead most people because I think most people don't actually care about their lives that much to actually take action for it. But the thing is, if someone wants to invite me to lead a group, they invite me to lead, right? Then they tell me, I want you to try fix this problem. Like, okay, let's fix it together. And then while we're fixing it together, they're like, oh man, why you're here? Why you're not doing it properly? I'm like, you bloody invited me in the first place. Like, I don't need to be here. I didn't want to be here. You're the one who invited me. There's a big difference.
I think if you want to help people, you have to be okay with the fact that you can't help everyone. And you're only going to be able to reach maybe like 10 to 15% of the people that you actually try to help. You got to kind of accept it and be
I
okay
actually do this thing now where if someone asks me for help about something serious, I actually kind of ask them like a billion questions to make sure that they actually mean it and they're not just doing it to praise their low self-esteem. That's basically what I do now. I'm going to ask you a ton of questions. And if I see that you're not serious about it deep down, I'm just going to leave you straight up.
Yeah, you know what? I actually thought about. I said that a long time ago. Is you got to figure out if someone has a fire in them, like the will of fire in them, and if they don't have it, bro, just a waste of your time. It's like I've seen it play that same pattern, play over and over. Like let's say when I was in college, I work out with a friend that was in one of my classes, okay, and they would get in good shape, because they're hijacking my willpower, but next semester, I teach them everything I know. I have no problem teaching people what I know. Next semester, they don't have me anymore. They don't hit the gym at all. 5 years later, they come up, oh man, look at you. I'm like, this motherfucker here, man, this lazy. It's just, you just gotta.
Man, the thing is, like, you
People
either
just don't want certain things in their life. They want to romanticize it. They don't really want to do it. They don't want to do the work. Is what it
you know what it's like? It's like me telling you, here's a pen. I want you to write with this pen. And then while you're writing with it, I take your hand and I force you to write something else with it. Like, if you're going to give me something to work with, we need to work with it properly. And you need to accept the fact that you have to have some criticism towards you. Why ask me for help and then say, oh, I don't know.
Well, what I'm curious about as I'm hearing all of this is, what is your measure of objective progress of the people that you're helping, where you can label them lazy as opposed to like progressing at their own standard, which I think that you're doing, if I'm being honest with you, Mercer.
Well, they're probably, Jerry, I am probably a bit tough on Jerry. I probably am a little tough on him, but he's a lazy fucker. Okay, he's a lazy motherfucker. He is progressive.
Comparatively.
But the thing is that I know, even the guy in the gym said, Jerry only goes to the gym because you're here. I said, yeah, I know. But he's only there because of me. So that's what I call lazy. That means if I disappear, you're not going to do it. And that's what I call lazy.
I mean, to be fair, Mercy calls me lazy. And I've been going to the gym for 15 years. So really, everyone's lazy. There's no one that's not lazy,
Everyone's lazy about something. Everyone's lazy about something.
I mean, what is lazy? I mean, comparatively.
Christian is like what I like to call a genius. So he just finds ways to be as lazy as possible and get things done.
Basically,
what he does. Like if he can,
that's just efficient, man.
No, that's fucking.
Basically,
it's just cheating the system. So what he does?
I think the negative. I think for me, what it's a negative thing. If you tell me what you want to achieve yourself, You initiated the point, and then you mark it down. And then when I tell you, why didn't you achieve the thing that you yourself have set, and you say, oh, and you start making an excuse of how it's a part of you, that's when I snap. Like, if I let you do the whole process yourself and then I don't see progress, and then you make excuses for it, that's when I'm like, okay, you can't be helped with by me anyway. So, you know.
Well,
yeah, and then
the thing I noticed.
Sorry, I just say the other thing we look for is less mistakes over time. I think a lot of us are fine helping our friends get set up, but as Mercer said, we want them to have the drive to do it because we're not always going to be around.
Mm-hmm.
And ideally, they develop into I don't want to say useful, but a competent person over time, so that we can have competent male friends around us who can help us as well, not selfishly, but to build that network. And then so then we can help each other with the challenging things, because there are some things that we can't do alone. And when there aren't a lot of competent people around who are reliable, that gets very frustrating. And it can suck up our time, and it's not helping.
So you're helping people build self-sufficiency and achievement so as to widen your network of spread of people, so you can utilize that in your success.
It's supposed to be mutually beneficial, right? So most relationships have some level of mutual benefit. In some cases, mentor-mentee can work, but usually they should be mutually beneficial long-term. So iron can sharpen iron, essentially.
Yeah,
that's such an anti-pragmatic thing to say. Holy.
I think also we need to realize that when we try to help people in fields that we're experienced in, those people don't have the same wealth of experience. So things that seem like they should be common sense, or that they should be easy to understand, or even things that require willpower that you think they should have, they haven't built that up yet. And we have to kind of empathize with that and start from square one. So you kind of need to go back to basics,
and also like recognize that you don't have everything in every field, and there's something to learn from every
It's
type.
always something to learn, but my thing is that you have a lot of people and you have a lot of friends, and you see proponents in their life that they could be better in, and you want to help them. It's almost like you're just wasting time. Okay, because the end result will not change. The future for them will not change. The future they got is the future they will get.
I don't know. I think it's really.
No, you talk. You're good.
I think it's important to see it as planting seeds. Like, you can say something to somebody, teach a lesson or whatever, and 5 years later, you're going to see the plant growing. You may not be there, but you've affected the person, and they've gone on to use that information later, maybe, or the next day. It's depends on the individual and how fast they grow. What are the things they've got in line that they got to do first before they start doing what you suggested to do? It's just a different rate of progress.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think one of the things I think talking with Mercer and Amir, things we try to watch out for is we don't want to enable someone who's in a negative cycle. And so sometimes we plant seeds and we don't see them, but a lot of times we plant seed and the seed keeps coming back wanting to be replanted. And that's not always effective or helpful. And we don't necessarily want to hurt them either by enabling a cycle that's not helping, when they have to find the why of what they want to do first.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with that.
I just think it's just, man, when you're dealing with people, man, I swear to God, you're dealing with people, most of the time you're gonna take a huge loss. I don't give a damn. Like, when you're dealing with people, most of the time you're gonna take a loss, dude. Like, if you not probably 8 times out of 10, you're wasting your time. It is what it is. Because
I find it so interesting, the difference between me and Mercer and how we approach people, because there's such a TE approach. The way I do it is usually like an SEFI approach, where it's like, okay, I'm gonna just let reality, or whatever it is they want, happen by itself, and then I'm gonna see what's good and bad, and then, I find that really interesting how we're very different. We're extremely different how we do it.
Yeah, I think your approach is more NE, like where you allowing people to figure out how they want to do it, and I'm just forcing it with NI. I'm forcing you. Like you don't even get a chance.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I get that. I see
Are
that.
you
But
an
to be honest,
ESTJ?
Hmm?
Are you an ESTA? The AMR?
No,
Are
he's
you an
an
ESTJ?
He's an ENTJ.
He's an
Yeah.
ENTJ. Okay. And then okay. But you're dominant subtype Mercer, and then
So what I've noticed is that Amir, I've actually thought about me and your difference a lot. So the thing is because you don't use as much NI, allows you to use more NE. Because if from the books or whatnot, if you want to be able to use your critic more, you have to slow down on the parent. Okay. So if you're not using the parent as much, then you're able to use the critic. So you who like, like you say, like projecting and everything in the future or whatnot isn't the best. So you'll be able to use NE a lot more than I would, which is why you're like kind of like water with people. Where you're like, okay, let's see where you want to go here. Let's see where you want to go there. And let's move it around from there. And I'm just like, no, bro, this is what you're gonna do. This is how you're gonna do it. And that's when, like it's like boom, 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 boom. That's it. Like I don't have time for anything else. Like I'm not about to sit here and play games with you. But you're more of a like water approach. Like, okay, you tell me how you want to do this, then we gonna go from there. I'm just like, nah.
I don't think, as far as Jerry, I don't think he cares too much about the results. I think what he likes is the social aspect of it. I think he likes going to the gym, hanging out with you, and just like feeling like he's doing something good. But I don't think he cares really about getting big or getting stronger. Like it's not.
So wait, who's Jerry?
He's one of my good friends.
think.
I have him in like I post videos of him all the time. He's the ENF.
Okay.
He's the ENFJ.
Okay.
And he's just like a Jerry. This is what I would say. Jerry just don't have no hatred in his heart. And
He's
I think
a people pleaser. He's a people pleaser.
like Jerry.
Yes.
He's going to the gym to please you.
Yes.
And basically like get some positive reinforcement from you every once in a while. That's it. Like
yeah.
He don't. He's
He
already a
doesn't want me to
big
call
guy,
his
so
phone
it's
because
not
he knows like when I'm going to the gym, I call his phone like he's like, man, I don't want this motherfucker to be cussing me out today. Because I call that phone, I go to cussing. I'm just like, where are you, bro? Like, where are you? And he don't want to hear me cussing, so he'll just come on to the gym or whatever. Like one day he's like, man, I don't want to go to the gym. Like, Jerry, shut the fuck up. You going to the gym, dude? Like
it's like Jordan said, you gotta figure out what his why is.
I know what Jerry wants in life. I know what he wants in life. And the thing is that if you want that, okay, I know what you want. I'm gonna try to help you get it, man. And if I gotta cuss you out to get you to do it, I will do that, But I know what Jerry wants. When we go out to clubs and stuff, Jerry wants the attention to be on himself. He wants all the attention. He told me one day on the treadmill, and I sat back and I said, yeah, I know SC child want attention too. I know your SC child want attention, and you hate that. You don't hate me, but you hate the fact that all the attention goes to me. And that's the reason why I try to, Jerry, do this, do that. But you can't force people to do it. And like I said, he don't have any hatred in his heart. Like I hate not being where I want to be. I hate being in certain predicaments. I would hate to be fat. I would hate to be lazy. I would hate to not have money. You know what I'm saying? Like that is what motivates me and pushes me. Jerry ain't got none of that. So it is what it is. I love the guy.
I have something to say as a therapist. In terms of my approach to being able to motivate someone, like there's like an art to be able to talk with them. And you have to think about it this way. There's the yin and the yang. You need assertiveness, but you also need to also play the part of being understanding and also validating as well. Right. So what I find is that when you try to if you push people like very, very hard, like if they're at 0 and you're making them focus on how to get to the 10, they're gonna get like really anxious. They're gonna get really paralyzed, right? But I noticed that when I work with clients step by step, then they're likely to get to a higher level of thinking. So if you first if they're in a very vulnerable state, just like really validate them and not do too much at once. And then the next level is that then they start to, then what happens is that you're able to process that emotional energy around it, and then they're able to move to the next step, and they're able to start to think in a broader kind of way. But it's like it comes from a place from having to validate themselves. So I read an article recently about how, like, when I notice clients change, clients don't change when they feel like they're putting a lot of pressure on themselves. But once I validate them and then we work on change, then it starts to work. Then their ability to change starts to happen much more quickly. So the analogy I like to give is like a bow and arrow. When you pull the bow back, you actually have to do it gently. And then when you do that, the arrow actually shoots really far. But what people make the mistake of, if they're archers, if they're beginning archers, is that they pull in really rigidly, and then it doesn't really go that far. And that's what happens, is that people put a lot of pressure on themselves internally to have a really big inner critic, and that actually prevents them from doing their goals. If you want to reach your goals, you have to kind of treat yourself kind of lightly. Like, you have to hold yourself lightly, and kind of like when you're playing sports, right? You're not going to hold yourself very rigidly. You have to kind of hold yourself lightly. So what I do is I kind of help them to calm down first, to validate themselves first, and then it becomes easier for them to make changes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a level of self-compassion that it can be very motivating to progress.
I think just certain people are motivated different ways. Like, I'm similar to Mercer. Basically, I'm motivated through like negative emotions. It's like, I just think about everyone that I hate, like, all the time. That just gets me out of bed every day. Like, if I
You're
didn't have
motivated
hate,
to take actions,
hate,
but like,
extent too.
so I think that, like, I mean, there's two factors here. There's motivation towards getting things done, but it like motivations towards, I mean, like, recognition of emotional development there, because I hear a lot of, like, from everything. I don't know everyone, but like, there's a lot of like, I know what he needs to do to change, and then there's not a lot of like, what can I learn from him to better myself, that I don't hear a lot.
That sounds like
the thing is, like, we don't want to take from him. Like, we want to help.
Christian, are you an ENTP?
No, I'm a ISTP.
You're an ISTP? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was about to say that ENTPs, I think, have the deadly sin of envy, which would make sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so the thing about Jerry is that he's a very giving person. So we don't have to take anything from him. He just gives it willingly. And because of that, we almost feel like we owe him something. Like, we want to give him back what he gives us. You know what I'm saying? And that's why we try to help him. So we get frustrated when he don't listen, because we really want the best for him.
TE fucking demon. TE fucking demon, bro. The motherfucker don't listen. I swear to God, I could send him something. Say, Jerry, watch this. Watch him watch it. And then watch him make the same fucking mistake 10 minutes later. Watch the same fucking mistake 10 minutes later.
Mercer, you have
like clockwork.
Mercer, you have to change your language.
All right, Amir, take it easy, man.
This is gonna drive you nuts. But you have to say, Jerry, I feel so strongly that you have to do this. And he will absorb it into himself and maybe do it.
No. Jerry, hey, I love Jerry, man. I love going out with Jerry. His SE Child comes out. It's kind of funny when you see a lot of us, he's an NFJ, I'm an ENTJ. Sometimes when we're not like in the mode, we can come off very introverted. But then when that SE Child comes out, it's like, boom, we come off super extroverted. Boom, boom, boom. We're all in the moment. We're all having a good time. Especially when we start drinking alcohol, it really starts to come out. And I've noticed lately within myself is, as an ENTJ, my SE Child bullies people. It tortures people. It literally tortures people. I've watched the videos, like Sean had me watching the videos today for his graduation, and I tortured him. I fucking tortured him. It's crazy. Like, I mean, SE Child it has an on switch and doesn't have an off switch. So what it does is, it's like, it gives people an experience regardless of the fact if it's good or bad. It could be giving somebody a bad experience, But unlike the hero or parent function, it doesn't realize it. So it just keeps going and keeps going, keeps going. And that's why people get very upset with ENTJs or whatnot. Because the SC child just keeps going and keeps going, keeps going, keep going, keep going. And people are like, bro, I had enough of this shit, bro. Like, you fucking annoying. I do it to Christian all the time, torture him. Pull out the camera, put it in his face, take a video of him doing some shit, you know. And it's bad. Like I remember back in the day when we were younger, we used to work out together, and Christian would take a shit in the gym, and I'd follow him and put him on social media. I was like, whew. Now I think about it, I'm like, man, I was something else, man. And you know what I'm saying? Like, as an ENTJ, I don't give a fuck how people feel. Like, I don't really care. Like, I'm just like, I don't know, give them experience. It ain't good or bad, you know.
While I used to raise my feet up. So you could see
you couldn't see the shoes. Because I would say the shoes match the suspect. And then you had the shoes on. It was just like, oh my God, boy, that's a job can really torture people. And
we were crazy.
I was a bully. I remember she was telling me I was a bully. And I told her, you're fucking crazy. But now that I look back at it, SC child can really bully people and not really know. Because it's
wait, who called you a bully?
Nima. She said I bullied her. I didn't fucking bully you. And then, you know, but I look back on it, and SC child can really bully people because it doesn't notice that it's giving somebody a bad experience. It's just giving an experience. And I'm enjoying it because I'm giving it, so I just keep doing it and keep doing it, you know. But I've noticed that a lot of people love SC child.
Kind of like my FE child sometimes doesn't even realize that it's giving good things to bad people.
Mm-hmm. It's not regular. It's really not regular at all. And it's like,
I don't have that problem because I don't give nothing to nobody. Except my girl, that's it. She gets everything.
He's FE. Christian's FE inferior.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, I need to fix that. I'm working on it, you know.
But he can't turn off when he wants something. He get like a crackhead. If Christian wants some, he has no regulation with NI at all. He just fucking goes for it. It's like some crazy crackhead way to get it. It doesn't matter how he does it. I'm just like, bro, you can't do this, bro.
ISTP?
Yeah, he's ISTP.
Yeah, my mom's an ISTP.
That's not true because, you know, I haven't traded in my car, so because I kind of want a new car. But
see, I told you. Hey, you know what it is? He's setting up TI right now, measuring it. Like, if I do this, and get that new car. I want that new car. It's only a matter of time before that boy goes and gets that new car.
I mean, eventually, but not right now.
Well, it's only a matter of time. It's probably some deep.
It's strategic.
No, he's coming up with a way to justify him going to get that fucking car. I tell you one thing about Chris. And before he do something, he'll check it off with somebody to justify it. Hey man, I'm thinking about buying this car, bro. Like him and my brother, I think TI users do it in general. They go and justify it before they do it. They're like, hey, they'll like throw it out there like, man, I'm thinking about going to go buy this car, man. If I go buy this car and I do this, then yeah, I can get the car. It's like, bro, you want the car, just go get the car. They're like, you know, they got to justify it before they make a leap of faith on anything. Like, you know, I've been thinking about this, man. What do you think about it? Man, not this motherfucker here, bro. Just go do it. Go do it. But
you do the same thing.
Huh?
You do the same thing.
I never justify shit with y'all. I just do it. I don't.
You're like, hey, you're like, hey guys, I want to do this. Is this a good idea? I'm like, yeah, go do it. Then like, oh, Christian told me to do it.
Well, I don't justify. I just blamed you for the results. Okay, that's
it's the same thing. It's the same thing.
Justification versus blame. I'm gonna blame you for the piss poor results, but yeah, we've noticed that justification comes from TI users a lot. They don't justify everything.
So they seek outside validation of the justification.
No, they justify everything logically before they do it. They've justified like they do something bad, but they've justified it already logically.
Because this is what happens. Like my brain will come up with ideas, right?
Yeah.
I'm just like testing out the ideas, so I gotta tell somebody, you know. And then like that person will tell me like we shouldn't do it because of this. Usually it's because ethically it's not good. And I'm just like,
at least he's honest.
And then I was like, are you right? I didn't think about that. And then we don't do it. And then everything's good. But sometimes I get judged by the unethical ideas, but they're just ideas. I'm just shooting it out there. We haven't done it yet. But then like, Christian's a piece of shit that came up with this idea.
Yo, there go Keith right here. This is my ESFP.
His brother's renowned for that shit. What's up, Keith?
What's up, man?
Like his brother will judge me on ideas that I haven't done anything with just because I said them. It's like, oh, Christian's a piece of shit. He think like this. Just an idea. Just an idea. I haven't done it. Nothing. Nobody's hurt yet. I'm just out the theory. But
Is that idea generating? Is that, I mean, because if you're an ISTP, where does that idea generating place come from? Because I know you have any trickster, right?
It comes from my brain.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, that.
It comes from my brain and like desired outcomes.
From the stars to your brain.
No, it's what I want. It comes from my desires.
His
desire. Okay.
And then my brain will try to figure out how to get it.
All right, Leon, take it easy, brother.
Usually pragmatically, which is why they come out kind of fucked up, the ideas, sometimes. But I'm a lot better now. Like I'm a lot more conscious of, that it's good.
And they don't come out very like socially smooth. You don't really care about how to say in it. Yeah.
It's just they come out kind of selfish, especially when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
So then I get the reputation of being selfish, which is not true. It's not. It's just
I think we all get the reputation of selfish from different reasons.
I get called selfish a lot too, and that's just.
I get selfish. You call selfish because I don't give a fuck how other people feel. So, like that.
I just say
what you got to say?
What do I have? What?
I thought you were about to say something. But who's Mitch? Who's Mitch? Anybody Mitch? Who's Mitch?
Meech.
Yeah. Well, I guess they're not here.
No, but like, Go ahead.
Oh, what up, shit? You here, boy?
Oh shit!
What the fuck you doing here, boy?
What's up, D?
What's up?
Man, where you been?
You're a strong boy, man.
Man, I'm chilling.
Bro, I can't fuck with you no more, bro. You're on another level.
Bro, I've been working out. Y'all was the ones who inspired me. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh shit.
Man, how you doing, man?
Got some big numbers, man. When's your competition?
Tomorrow, actually.
Damn.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I ain't even know you was on here, man.
I figured I should have changed my name. I was like, when I was in Gainesville, I didn't even go by Meech. At most, it was what, D-Meat?
What?
We call it Meat. I used to call you Meat back in the day.
Yeah.
Where we used to wrestle and shit. When you were wrestling.
Yeah. I don't even remember my nickname. I know Nathan had a nickname for me.
Seda. That was it. Seda.
No, it was like I don't know, like
he used to say, "Get them titties ready." He used to slap us on the chest and say, "Get them titties ready."
Get them titties ready. He got some meat steaks or some shit. I don't know, some gay shit.
Hey, guys, crazy. Hey, but Demetri, how you doing, man? Go. What was your goals, man? Go ahead. Damn, man, I didn't even know you were there, bro.
Yeah. Upcoming goal, just been busting my ass, focus on the meat. Like that's really been my focus. Trying to the long goal, like if everything goes perfect, I hit like my top numbers, coming out with like a 1,700 total and potentially placing, like that would just be outside goal because it's literally first time stepping on the platform.
Mm-hmm. What's your best lift?
Squat. What's the most I've done? It was 645.
Yeah.
Shit was
strong, man. He's strong.
It ended up form was ugly.
I don't even like squatting to over 500 pounds, man. One time guys, this is crazy story here. One time I was being fucking retarded. This is the SI Tricks moment. And sometimes I could just like go too far. And I went down to do 500 twice. And I felt something rip in my stomach, right? I didn't think nothing of it. Went home, went to sleep. and I ripped a vein in my ass. And I'm telling you, I was in so much pain for so long that I said, I will never, and I mean never, ever do that ever again. Squat like that. I said, but hey, never, ever, ever again will I strain when I'm squatting. You won't see me strain when I'm squatting ever again. Okay?
Yeah.
Talking about the shit was so bad, I had to go beg my mother for a pain pill. Like one of those strong shits. Because I was in so much pain, I said, fuck this shit. Get me out of here. Like, get me out of here. Get me out of here. I think I took like an oxygen or some shit, man. I was hurting like a motherfucker, boy. Woo! Talking about what?
Like one of the hemorrhoid veins? Like
Yeah. So I was like, you know, like sometimes when you strain, you like out of breath. And that's what I was doing when I was squatting. And you cannot do that. Do not want to do that. Do not want to do that. Listen to me.
So that sounds awful.
Do that.
Yeah, something I was gonna say. Something I was gonna say about like SI trickster and SI demon types. It's harder to tell when your body's getting tired or when it's like getting strained. And so like some of those types will just move, and it's like, where's the sleep, bro? Like, where's the rest? You know?
Well, I'll give you another story. Christian has
SI
wheeled me into the
inferior can
hospital.
do that sometimes.
Christian has wheeled me into the hospital.
Yeah.
I had to take Mercer to the hospital one time.
No.
Because
out.
Basically his body went into rhabdomyolysis mode and started just like spasming all over. He couldn't even walk. I thought he was playing at first, like always. He's like,
I started cussing, motherfucker, I'm not fucking playing.
Motherfucker, I ain't playing, I can't walk. I'm like, huh?
Bro, you can't walk. I'm like, motherfucker, I can't fucking walk.
I had to like basically carry him to the car and just go to North Florida. I think we went to North Florida, right? North Florida Hospital.
Wait, this was the same circumstance or a different circumstance?
Different circumstance. Different.
What did you do that time?
Working out, drinking,
we worked out way too hard.
Working out.
Not having enough electrolytes.
It's all that. It's a combination. Just go, and you don't care about your body, and that shit comes back. Yeah, that was 3 days, two days in the hospital.
Did you go like really stiff?
Huh?
Did your like joints and like your body muscles like get really stiff?
No, they just fucking start
basically it's involuntary spasming and muscle all over his body. So the doctors were worried that it was gonna shut down his kidneys.
So they kept me in the hospital for 2 days.
So they kept him in the hospital for like 3 days.
And they came to the hospital laughing. Him and my older brother came to the hospital laughing at me. Like my older brother, the ENTP, he like came in there, he started shaking and shit. Yo, I don't see shit funny about this. It's quite
no, yeah, I'm sorry that happened.
Yeah,
but see, that's you gotta be careful when Mercer calls you lazy, because lazy could be smart.
Yeah, lazy could be, just being healthy, like taking care of yourself, not, dying,
That's not really my
measure that standard.
Yeah, but Dimitri, go ahead and finish, man. Finish up.
Where else was I at? Yeah, just going in tomorrow, having a good meet. Like, what else? Goals for next month?
Yeah, D, where you living at?
I'm in Atlanta.
Oh shit.
Atlanta.
Oh man, do you like it?
Still live in Atlanta.
Oh yeah, it's great. I know me and y'all haven't catched up in a while, but I was like out in Oklahoma for 2 years.
Yeah, this new D seems very
enlightened,
very mature, reserved, very
He was always like that though. He was always like that.
Yeah, he does have that, he does have a sophistication about him. What part of Atlanta are you there?
I'm one of Dimitri's ENFP.
I'm in Southeast.
Go ahead,
I'm sorry, say again. You cut out.
You said what?
South and then
Southeast.
Oh,
Southeast. What's that near?
Where is it at?
Where are you near? And then
I'm near.
I used to live in Marietta.
I'm near the airport. I'm like.
Oh yeah.
10,
okay.
so
I've been to that airport before. It's really big. It's really busy.
Huge.
It's huge. Yeah.
Yeah. Dimitri, man, how's everything? I think you said I saw you had a kid, man.
I gotta go, so I'll see y'all later. All right.
All right, man. I saw you had a kid, Dimitri. You had a kid, don't you?
Man. Yeah.
Man, how did it be a father?
Interesting. That definitely interesting, man. Like life comes at you fast. I'll admit I wasn't in a planning stage, nor expecting this to happen. It's like just adjusting to this lifestyle, co-parenting, and then like I said, I was all around with having my kid. Like I was finishing up my master's right when I had her, so it's just like life has been kind of all over. Definitely a balancing act right now.
Yeah, I think he's NFP. I think Dimitri's NFP.
I get well, I don't know. The last time I did like what is it, the Myers-Briggs thing online, like I forget 100-question test or whatever. I think I got NFJ.
NFJ.
Yeah, the 16 personalities test is garbage if that's what you did. So
yeah, so the reason why I said NFP is because you listed your achievement there, your masters and everything. So that's TFI. And you're talking from a first person perspective this whole time. So it's SI, talking about like, and it's kind of informative how you said it when I asked you a question. It's very informative how you came off when I said, how's it to be a dad? You said interesting. That's informative as shit. That's not direct at all. So it'd be like you'd probably be NFP, which is pretty dope. I'm not sure exactly which NFP you'd be. I'm leaning more ENFP, but yeah, dope.
That's what like I've been like on the outside looking in, kind of. This was again my first time jumping on the chat, looking at the group, and I was just like, all right, I didn't know what direction, kind of where you're taking things now. I know originally it was just motivation, pushing the group, a lot of workouts, and like you said, it's branched out to over 300 people. I didn't even know it had gotten that long. So where were you trying to take that? Like, what was the original?
It's a self-development group, but a large interest of a lot of people is typology here. So we talk about typology. So like the best part about learning about your type is that you can learn about things that you should avoid or whatnot. Like a common pitfall with my personality type is their body giving out on them. Kind of like what Christian was saying when he had to wheel me into the hospital. If I know my personality type, then I should know that I need to sometimes get rest and stop going go, because that's burning the life at both ends, So that allows me to sit back and say, okay, I think I need to take today off, or I think I need to rest today, instead of just like pushing through like I would normally do without knowing my personality type. Or my personality type generally doesn't care how people feel. Where it comes off like it doesn't care about how people feel. So if I know that that's my personality type, I can ask people, man, how do you feel about this, instead of just doing something. Because 9 times out of 10, when I just do something, it's not feelings related to the group. It's just the most effective way to do something. But people don't give a damn about the most effective way to do things. They care about you making them feel good as well. Yeah. You learn your personality type, you can find the pitfalls that you make, and you can do good things with that.
I was trying to scroll. Do you have some of this stuff posted in the group, or you mind sending me some of the info?
Yeah,
since you said
I'll definitely send it to you, man. Or we can get you on a call and we can find out your personality type. We got like 2 to 3 people, and like we ask you questions and you answer them, and then from there we can figure out your personality type. Just like here, like you're coming from a first person perspective, so it's SI instead of SE. Like an SE user like myself will talk about what other people are doing all the time when it refers to a memory or whatnot, or when it's talking, it'll be like, this motherfucker did this, or that motherfucker did this, or she did this, but you're like, I did this, I went through the suffering, I did, stuff like that. And that's first person perspective.
Okay.
Yeah. It takes a while to get used to, but once you start figuring it out, you can kind of like break people down pretty quick and understand them pretty well. Yeah.
Seems interesting. I've been trying to, keep in the loop of the conversation. I constantly see you mentioning the types, and I'll just trying to pick up on the overall vibe of the group and like what it means for each person. So yeah, definitely would appreciate any resource you could send over and kind of I can see how I can.
Yeah, and yeah, man, keep us updated in the group on your gym game stuff, man. You stop posting.
Yeah.
I saw you, motherfucker. You see that? I saw you. Like, How I talk versus how yeah.
Nah, man, it's I've been trying to post more. It's just like right now I've just really been in these last couple weeks of like let me buckle down for this competition tomorrow. I was just like, let me focus on that. I hadn't even been posting at all my workouts. I was just like, let me grind out these last few sessions and then see how I do tomorrow. Because it's just like the nerves were catching up a little bit. So I was just like not trying to overwhelm myself. And then also kind of trying to look at the advice of the pros, the people who've done it, the things that they've said about like going to this first meet with that open mind. Like every lift that I'm performing on the platform is a PR because I've never done it in competition. So just going in with that open mindset and then trying to evolve from there. Not trying to put too much weight on myself about the actual numbers right now.
That's progression. Yeah, you're ENFP.
Oh, I love ENFPs.
Like that.
Yeah, you just talked about not caring about the numbers and evolution. That's all progression. Yeah, you're ENFP, man. But yeah, man. Dope. I gotta get going, guys. It was an absolute pleasure. Dimitri, we will link up, man. And everybody stay active. Love you guys. Jordan, you got any closing arguments as a moderator?
No, thanks, Mercer. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.
This is a good one. All right, you guys. Take it easy.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.
Bye.